Welcome, people. Sorry for the delay. We were dealing with some technical stuff. We wanted to do some background stuff as well. How you doing today, Coop, man?
What up?
What's up, man? We welcoming everybody into the room. We'll give people time to actually get into the room. I'm glad we got some new music.
Mhm.
We got a lot to talk about today, man. We got everything from new music to upcoming releases to birthday shout outs. We normally don't do that, but I think this is a special day. You know what also came out today? In addition to all the birthdays, what up, DeCarlo? Uptown Saturday Night came out today. It celebrates its 25th anniversary. Camp Low.
Look,
Love
yeah,
that record. I
hmm
love that album.
yeah.
Lucini's so
Your
dope.
favorite record? Yeah, Lucchini's a special record. I mean, you already know I've flexed on that beat personally as an artist before. It's one of my favorite beats ever, one of my favorite hip hop songs ever. That's one of those albums that my cousin put me on to that made me understand like that hip hop could be different and be great at the same time.
Right. DeCarlo said, "Yo, y'all got to start saying 5 p.m." Yeah, we might do that, but we're gonna shoot for 4:30. We had some technical issues that we had to get around, and we got around it. And we wanted to make sure everything was right for you guys. Make sure we had our research. Make sure we had like all of the screen things to have a show the way we need to have it in order, so we're not scrambling or whatnot. But anyway, yeah, I love that record. Honestly, man, Lucini's such a dope classic. Believe it or not, it's not my favorite song on the album.
I was gonna ask you what's your favorite song on there?
Man, Coolie High is my shit.
Okay.
That shit
I
is
can't knock you for that.
crazy. And I mean, Lucini
Oh,
might be the
oh,
better
oh,
song.
oh. Is that the one that's like the Camp Low what? Camp Low what? Is that the one you talking about?
Yeah,
Which
that
one? Yeah,
Coolie High got you right.
yeah,
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 that joint.
yeah.
And then they got the remix with the Michael Jackson sample and stuff too.
Yeah, I
Yo,
remember
them
the
dudes was snapping. The
yeah.
flow is immaculate, man. I
Their flow and style pattern for the times was just like crazy. They were totally innovative.
Yeah, and the fact that they were doing one of those things that Mobb Deep was doing, and I felt like Ray and Ghost did, where they had like their own language. Like we were trying to decipher what Camp Lo was saying, because it's just the slang was just so heavy.
Slang was heavy embedded. It was like it was very supreme clientele, like in terms of deciphering the language and the lingo and the vernacular. Yes.
Yeah, those guys were ahead of things, man. But on to today's music. We got that alert last night, basically saying that Benny was dropping a new single called Johnny P's, and it featured J. Cole. Let me go to the album cover or whatnot, or the single art rather. While we're talking about this thing, for the people who might not know what we're talking about. Do I have this thing pulled up? See, I did all that delaying, and I don't even know if I got it pulled up. Hold on 1 second, guys.
Johnny P's caddy.
Johnny P's. No, that's something else. That's something else. There we go. There we go. I didn't have it titled. Listen, man, when I pressed play on this, I didn't really know what to expect, right? Because last time Benny put out a single with, a heavy feature on it, or heavy features on it, which was Big Sean and Lil Wayne, it was a little bit underwhelming. I remember we were doing our show. I think that's when we were still doing the Facebook Lives. This is before we moved over to YouTube. And we both expressed similar sentiments. I think we were, I know at least me, when Midnight hit, I was on it. I wanted to hear it, and I was underwhelmed.
Yeah,
Um,
we had a long talk that night.
yeah, we did have a long talk that night. And so this one, I didn't even check out at midnight. I waited to the next morning. This is hard. Now, this is what I've been looking for in Benny, personally. His verse was crazy. You know what I'm saying? He did his thing. And Cole did his thing. And the track was that it was hard. It was where I wanted it to be as a fan, and it makes me excited about Tana Talk 4. What was your reaction to the song after hearing it?
My sentiments are similar to yours. I was highly impressed. I was immediately saying to myself, early in the year, obviously only 28 days in, best hip hop song I've heard this year so far. One thing I want to note about what Benny did on the song, Benny did a lot of the things on this record that made you fall in love with him to begin with, because
Right.
he's somebody who's very talented, so he can do an array of things on the mic. The wordplay on here is unique, distinctive, and at a high level, but he can do all of those things consistently. And so I saw an uppage in the wordplay from him that I've been hearing recently more than anything else, because my immediate thought was lyrically, that's his stronger, if not better than anything that he spit last year that I heard.
I agree. And it's something about this song that's a lot more full and more satisfying than the previous effort from last year. And I'm not even talking about Burden of Proof, the one he did with what's his name?
Harry Fraud, Plugs
Yeah,
too.
Harry Fraud, Plugs 2. It was Plugs 2, yeah. I mean, Plugs 2 was good, but again, it was something that felt like it was missing. People in the chat are saying J. Cole over Kendrick. J. Cole's top 15, I think I saw in the chat. Listen, man, we're going to get to talking about J. Cole. I want to give J. Cole his props. And we're going to talk extensively about J. Cole in a minute in the show in another segment, because, he's celebrating a birthday today, as well as Rakim and Rick Ross. But what I will say about J. Cole, man, I want to somewhat apologize to some of the J. Cole fans out there. He might not, and we're going to talk about this too, he might not have the home runs when it comes to songs, but his consistency and his willingness to go out there and rap and, spread love throughout the rap game. I mean, he was just on the Wale record, doing his thing. I got to commend him. And he never goes out there and disappoints. He never goes out there and won't rap on the song, but the feature turns out to be a singing verse or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to give it to Cole. He goes out there and he delivers and he gives it to you. And for his fans, they got to be satisfied in the fact that he continuously is active no matter who is in the rap game. And that it kind of leans to something we were talking about last week when we were alluding to the fact that, we got Conway coming out, Gibbs is doing his thing, Jay Electronica's rapping now. Benny's talking about he got album of the year. Pusha's talking about he got album of the year. We got a lot of heavy shit going on in hip-hop right now as far as lyricists. And I love the fact that J. Cole's not sitting here leaning on the fact that he's put in these conversations. He's actually putting himself on these songs. And I got to give him props for that.
I think they both deserve props for a couple things. Mike, I'm going to go back to a song from Plugs 1 that really made me look at Benny differently. Like, oh, no, this guy can be the best MC in the game. And that's Crown for Kings with Black Thought, because Black Thought had a slightly better verse, but I could also hear that Black Thought had to push himself on that track to have the best verse, which means Benny was outstanding on that track. Okay? Mm-hmm. I have similar thoughts about this record where I feel like he pushed Cole a little bit too, in the same way he pushed Thought. And in both times, the results are excellent. So he's that caliber MC where he can bring out the best in the best. Mm-hmm.
And you know what? And even outside of that, and we've been giving Griselda props for that anyway. I think that somebody in one of the comment sections of one of our previous videos kind of misinterpreted what I was saying. I think we were talking about Magic, and we were talking about how reinvigorated a lot of guys are because of this momentum of what Griselda has going on. We know that, Nas inspired them, but what's happening with Griselda is they're reinvigorating the guys that inspired them, and it's showing. I mean, even all the way down to what Jadakiss did at that Versus last year, man, it was like, we talking about rapping now. We're talking about bars. And no beat's going to disguise that. And a lot of the guys who come from that era, they're not out. They know that it's okay now to make some hardcore stuff, and there's a fan base that's going to go out there and appreciate it on a wide level. And I think Griselda has really hammered that home. And I think that, like you said, what comes with that is you get the best out of people when you're on the record with them. I mean, that same thing happened on the Russ album. where Conway was on the record with Ghostface, and we got a really dope Ghostface verse out of it. It's a beautiful thing to see that these guys are applying pressure on the mic to all different generations.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna get lax on a record with Benny or Conway. And with West Side, that it's a time to shine because the production and everything's gonna be immaculate. Similar to a Rick Ross type of feature. Like if you're on a Rick Ross song, you're gonna do your thing because everything's in place. I think Game's one of those people too.
Mm-hmm.
That people, and we talked about last episode about how Game kind of gets overlooked because whenever he has features, they seem to do, either overshadow him and do just as well or whatever, whether he's coming with bars or not. But I think that that's because he applies pressure too. Like you said, he's a momentum rapper.
Mm-hmm.
There's something I do want to say about Game that we didn't say in that last episode. But I guess we can finish talking about Benny first because I want to go off into that about some of the things that are overlooked with Game.
Okay. So, where are we going? Are we going?
Well, where I want to go here is what do we expect from Tana Talks 4? Because if this right here is, a first look into what that's going to be, which in my opinion, it's probably dropping next Friday, right? Last time Benny dropped a single, the whole album came the following week. So we're probably going to get Tana Talks 4 next week or probably the week after. But what do you expect to see on this album?
I find that to be fascinating because Conway's dropped his release date, which I think is like the 25th.
Yeah.
February. So they're dropping super close to each other. I think that's a little interesting. So I don't know when it exactly is dropping, but I just have a feeling, especially with the different type of momentum and push that kind of Benny has, I think it may have a chance of actually dropping after. I think they may want to. Yeah, I think they may want to throw another record out and see how that bubbles for Benny as well. I think this is probably a record that's more for his core audience. There might be another song that we're going to get in the next couple of weeks. This kind of maybe like check the temperature in the room a little bit and then drop a release date on the project.
You don't think that it would be a powerful statement to drop 2 albums in the same month? Meaning, obviously Benny dropped at the beginning of February and Conway dropped at the end of February.
Okay, so we haven't heard a release single from one, but we have a release date. We've heard a record from the other, and we don't have a release date.
Exactly.
So I really don't know what to make of it, because it's kind of murky right now. So I'm just kind of projecting what I think is going to occur just because we don't have a release date. And this is one of those albums that may be like really important for Benny because of his core fans and how we feel about Tana Talk. Like I told you, Mike, I was like, it sounds in line with Tana Talk 3, which is just what I wanted to hear.
You know who needs to be on Tana Talk 4? Jay-Z.
Oh.
Jay-Z needs to be on this album.
Oh, really? You think so?
I think so. I think that the features...
Now, hold on.
Go ahead.
Mike, what I'm going to quibble with you about that is like, now you heard how dope Cole sounded.
Mm-hmm.
You heard how Benny sounded.
Yeah.
But you heard how Jay sounded on his verses last year.
I know. He's going to have to redeem that. This is the perfect opportunity to do that.
Okay.
I think it's right in the lane where, because he's... I don't know if we covered this on the show, if this was offline, but I know we were asking, like, what is the deeper meaning of Jay talking about Volume 1 again? Because he's never really highlighted that album at all. And I was reading in the comments section, because we read you guys' comments. Y'all have a lot of great insight. Somebody said that they think he's going to release 25th anniversary vinyl for Volume 1. I believe that. And I believe that that's why the talk of Volume 1 is coming around again, where we're adding value to Volume 1, because they see people like us talking about it. You talk about Volume 1 a lot. And what was Volume 1? 97 Hove. What was that? Tana Talks 3. I think this is a perfect opportunity to bring that whole 97 whole vibe and show that worth of Volume 1 again on this project. And it's a Def Jam project, too.
I love that album cover, too, Mike, because that's his conversational flow.
Mm-hmm.
That's that conversational album cover, too. It's just him there in the leather and the tee. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's there for you. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's a whole vibe with it if you're a fan of his, which I am. All of that contextualizing it, and when you put it together like that, the fabric of it sounds legit. So, you know what I'm saying? It's probably going to be some cloth made, you know?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that this is the thing that Kanye does well that Jay hasn't done as well. But again, it's because Kanye is a producer. Kanye's been able to keep his aura up and still spread himself around. Nas has done that too. And Jay, for whatever reason, it's like he's so selective on the tracks that he gets on that when he gets on them, it's either bang or bust.
You think so?
I mean, that's what it was last year. Had the Nipsey record, had the Drake record, had the Kanye record, had the Sorry Not Sorry. And it's like, who knows if you would have worked with MC, what's his name, you could have had a, you know what I mean? A quality verse there.
If you're just talking about last year, then yes. But overall, I don't know if I totally agree with that.
I think at this point in Jay's career, he's been very selective about where he features. I mean, I'm not talking about like the Rockefeller days. Like, it feels like, for the most part, and correct me if I'm wrong, because, you know, obviously him and Jay Electronica do business, but if you're not somebody that's doing business with Jay, you're not going to get a verse. Right?
I mean, this is what I'm saying, Mike, about how, like, the Blueprint 3 was the last really, like, great project that he made. Is that he doesn't really fit into any of the normal pockets that exist anymore in hip-hop.
The Griselda stuff.
Well, Mike, I was about to say, last heard doing stuff like that, I believe, was Drug Dealers Anonymous with Pusha T.
That was held high. And you've said on a previous show, that's the last great Jay-Z verse.
I was wrong about that because I forgot about Ghost of Soulja Slim.
Right. But it stuck out in your mind.
But if we're talking about, Mike, since we're bringing it up, but if we're talking about that 97 Hove talk. Yeah. So, but think about how long that was even now. And that never even made a Pusha album, which I was always like thinking like, man, like imagine if Drug Dealers Anonymous is on Daytona, Mike.
I would have liked that, but I like Daytona where it is.
I mean, I'm cool with that, but imagine you have a project like that and only features on there are Rick Ross, Jay-Z.
Mad Max says, I want Pusha on Tana Talks, Ransom, Papoose, Jay-Z. No, I'll take Nas, but I'm going to need the 4016 building Nas. I think that's the Nas that we're going to be getting for this year. I don't know. I think Magic Nas is the Nas that we're going to be getting on features if, you know, we see some features throughout this year. Now, I would love him to be on Tana Talk 4 too, but I think this right here is wide open for Jay to jump on and really get people buzzing, because a part of me feels like, in addition to this Volume 1 25th anniversary celebration, whatever it is, whether it's a concert, whether it's redistribution of vinyl with, like, you know, remastered stuff or demo stuff, which is a possibility, I still think that there's a possibility we're going to get some new Jay-Z music. And I don't think there's a better opportunity to kind of show people where you're at right now than getting on Tana Talk 4.
I mean, I think it's fair to say that we're going to get Conway and Westside on there, right?
Hey, that's happening.
We already got Cole on there, right?
Yeah.
So we don't want to oversaturate this now, do we? You feel what I'm saying?
No, I feel you.
So if I was picking from an array of people, I think there's a likelihood that Gibbs is probably going to end up on here, Mike.
Pusha T might be on there.
And Pusha T might be on there. And Mike, I'm cool right there.
I'm cool with that right there too.
I'm cool with that right there.
You don't want Jay-Z to come through and possibly, oversaturate the situation?
Only if it's done right. You know what? I would love, like, if he's in his zone, I'd love hear him and Benny like to do some back and forth, like Brooklyn Finest style. If you really like, if we just gonna like go like head talk with it, you know what I'm saying, about Tana talk.
Shots rang out, said Benny needs to carry his whole project.
That's what I'm trying to say. I wasn't trying to say it like that, but that's what I'm saying. It's like if you giving me like Griselda coming in there, check. Pusha coming in there, check. Gibbs coming in there, check. After that, it's like, okay, what you trying to do with this project?
What it feels like, again, when we look at Conway, right? Like Conway from a king to a god, he had features on there, but he carried that project. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a way to do it where you're still heavy on the project. Again, Supreme Clientele. Like, it had features on it, but that was Ghost.
Listen to Supreme Clientele yesterday, Mike.
What's that?
I listened to Supreme Clientele yesterday.
It's crazy, right?
Crazy. Still Ghost album, though.
What's your favorite song on Supreme Clientele?
Probably We Made It. Or One.
We Made It's hard. And see, We Made It got some folks on it, but Ghost came through.
Yeah. I mean, Mike, there's so much heat on there, it's hard to decide. That's what makes it a classic. It's like I love Wu Banga 101. I love Shay Shay Lagos, Malcolm, We Made It, Mighty Healthy, One. I love all those records, Mike, but One and We Made It are the records that I probably have to hear on there no matter what. So I'd say one of those.
I love One. One is
crazy. One's the first record I heard.
It was the first record I heard too. It was the record that made me,
They released it on a promo. You remember the promo CD? It said One, Ghostface Killer, One, produced by Juju of the Beatnuts.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I had the promo CD.
Yo, Terminator 2 said, mine is Ghostdini or Malcolm. Yes, Ghostdini has been my favorite song on that album at a lot of points. Yeah, he went nuts on there. He went nuts on...
You want to know what it is, Mike? I'm just not a big a fan of the beat on there as I am some of the other tracks. Like, that beat's not fucking with One or We Made It.
But the fact is, you must have heard the original beat, right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, when I heard the album for the first time, I had never heard the original one. And so I think that when you see, it's deflating when you actually hear the album and you know what the original one sounds like, and then you hear this one.
But I would still put One and We Made It above it. And Wu Banger 101.
Wu Banger 101 is nice.
That's special.
Yeah, all of those records are special.
Yeah, records are special. Yeah.
But yeah, Tana Talks 4, I mean, hopefully it's coming in the next week or two. But I'm just anticipating that it is. I don't think these guys are gonna drag this out. This is J. Cole we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't really get no bigger than this at this point, unless you're gonna get Kendrick on the record. So you got J. Cole on the record and you're on Message, like you were saying.
No,
it's time to go.
Well, we
don't need another single right now.
And I want to say this carefully. They didn't have a bad year last year as a camp, but they didn't have an ascending year for the first time in a very long time, Mike. Like, they have had an ascending year every year pretty much since 2014, 15. Last year was the first year where things kind of just stayed pat. They're very savvy guys, obviously, and they realize that. So their heavy hitters are coming, which is Benny and Conway. So it's coming first quarter.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just a matter of when. So they're showing their savviness in that point, too. Like, they noticed, too. And I'm not talking about, like, in a money way, because their money's probably as up as it's ever been. But as far as their momentum, with what their movement's been, last year wasn't as momentous as 2020 for them. Is that fair to say?
No, that's fair to say. 2020 was their year. We were talking about them damn near every week at that point.
Because they gave us a reason to. So last year wasn't necessarily like that, but they still had a great year. But also, too, Mike, they know what that vibe feels like now. So this is them going back for theirs. And what I love about them is that they're doing it live in a climate where they know heavy hitters and legends who they admire and respect are all around them, and they're still willing to go up the bat first, too. Because we don't have a KD3 release date. We don't have a Pusha album release date. We don't have a Gibbs release date. We don't have a Kiss release date. We don't have an Electronica release date. Damn sure don't have a Kendrick release date. But we got these guys coming soon, and it's evident. So they don't mind the smoke. And that's what I love about it.
Speaking of which, man, I just saw in the chat, I'm sorry I forgot who said it. They said that AZ put out a deluxe version of Do or Die 2 today. I missed that because I was looking at the Rick Ross deluxe version that he put out of his project. Motorola Era featuring 2 changes on there, Stay Fly and This Is Mine. And he's also on the Rick Ross deluxe.
Yeah, he is.
So yeah, I mean it's a lot going on. It's a lot of new music in the sense where even existing music is getting the deluxe package in there. I think that's a good segue to this next thing. Were you done with what you had to say about Tana Talks 4 or the possibility of that?
No. I just want to say deluxe packaging and rebranding it, like, and throwing a few tracks on like 3 to 6 months after it came out is just smart marketing by the MCs to do it. Like,
Yeah.
it just makes sense to give your opportunity for your numbers to spike again in this streaming service client that we live in. You know what I mean?
I love it. You know what I'm saying? If people aren't going to buy physicals like that, yeah. The fact that you can go out there, add 2 or 3 records.
That's what. I'm sorry, I mean to cut you off. I was wondering what Motorola Era was for when it dropped a couple weeks ago, but this is what it's for. It was for Do or Die 2, that AZ Chains record. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And that might be on Chains' album too, because Chains is about to drop too, isn't
he? He is. I think Chains is probably dropping next week. We don't have an actual date, but the fact that
did he say that?
Did he say that? Let's see. TD says, did y'all discuss the AZ and 2 Chainz song? No, but we can right now. What do you think of the record?
It's dope. What do you think?
No, I think it's dope. I think that it's interesting that,
Who do you think got off? A lot of people saying Chainz got off.
Chainz always gets off, man. You know how I feel about Chainz. I don't see let's see, do we get a release date here? Nah, he hadn't said yet. Thing is, man, Chainz is a lyricist. And I think for the type of rap music he makes, people don't view him in that way. But look at the people who work with him. And look at the age bracket that he's in. Let's just be honest. Like, he's worked with De La Soul. He's worked with AZ. Like, I think him and Rick Ross are in a similar, and that's why they did the verses together probably. But they're in a similar range in the sense where what they appreciate and what they bring to the table. They have a whole, I don't want to say image, but they have a whole aura and what they bring to any situation. So whether that's them featured on something or whether people are being featured on their record, they create they create a climate. They create a culture within themselves when people work with them and when they work with others. And I think that it's deeper than a sound. It's deeper than all of that. Because you know what you're going to get if you're working with Rick Ross or Rick Ross is working with you. You know what I mean?
Now, Mike, when it comes to Chainz, I'm going to say something, and I say this in complimentary fashion, and I don't say this too often. In a lot of ways, in terms of his uniqueness and how he brings fun to the game and still has high rapping ability, but the type of charisma, Mike, where he's on the track kind of hits different, Mike. He's not him, but it's very slick Rick, right? Like,
no, I feel you.
Rick. It's very
I feel
slick
you.
Rick,
it's like the aura that comes with it. It's kind of like in the vein of, I think it's more, I think people would more so correlate it to like a Snoop Dogg, right?
See, I don't think Snoop is something unto itself to me. That's why I bring it up, because Snoop shit isn't always fun. Like, let's keep in mind, one of his best songs is called Murder Was the Case.
But I'm just talking about like the aura. Like, Snoop is one of those guys that walks in the room and takes up big space. 2 Chainz does that.
Yeah, he does take up big space like that.
He does. Yeah. It's like his presence is known no matter who's on the record. People in the chat are saying he had the better verse than AZ.
I've been hearing that a lot.
Who did you think had the better verse on this Johnny P record?
Who, me?
Yeah.
This is one of those washes for me. That's why I love it. It's like, oh, he's doing what I like him to do. It's like, oh, he's doing what I like him to do. It's like, oh, I don't know what to do about that.
Off first listen, I was more impressed with Benny's verse, but I'm really impressed with J. Cole's verse as well. I think it was more in Benny's vein.
How about this? More impressed with Benny's wordplay, more impressed with Cole's nimbleness at moments on the track. Like he did a couple of things on the track cadence-wise where he was stacking while he was flipping his words. It was pretty impressive. That's like that's that technical nerd, high-level MC stuff. You know what I'm saying? That he does extremely well. Like, no, he did that masterfully. But it came off well. It didn't come off like nerdy technical rap. It came off like, yo, this nigga nice.
Rome Trail says he sounded more comfortable than AZ on the record. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. The chat's going crazy right now. We haven't even gone into everything else we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about, I think the next thing we're going to talk about is how people are reacting to this M and Busta thing, man. Jacoby went out there and said that, look, Busta isn't on Eminem's level. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to, celebrating Rakim on his birthday, Rick Ross, and J. Cole on his birthday as well. We got 3 big birthdays. So what me and Coop were thinking about doing was doing the top 5 songs from each of these artists. And we want y'all help with the J. Cole too, because, we were speaking offline about that. What I did want to say about the game, right? And then we're going to talk about this new Kanye release date too. Hopefully that happens and comes. What I want to say about the game, man, somebody said in the comment section a statement that was really interesting. They said Game makes some of the best diss records ever. And when you sit here and look at his battle resume is impressive. And people go on and talk about back-to-back with Drake. Pest Control was way better than back-to-back. Yes. He murdered Meek Mill on that. And I'm going to be honest, man, like, I don't want to jump out the window, but Pest Control is one of the most vicious diss records I've ever heard.
It's very no Vaseline, man.
He was going in. And people act like it never happened. People act like no Pest Control never happened.
I mean, we've talked about how he gets like understated and overshadowed, and we brought up the reasons why, but we only brought up one valid reason. Like, there are other MCs that are considered to be greater than him, and there are more valid, like, there are more red flags against them than there are against him.
Exactly. And we talk about the battle, and I know, like, when, obviously when you're ranking top MCs, competitiveness is part of it, right? So the battle, if that person is qualifiable for that, that should give a person extra marks. We looking at 300 bars and running. You look at Pest Control. You're looking at, the man's resume speaks for itself when it comes to diss records. The subliminals here and there.
Mike, well, here's the thing about him. When it comes to battle, he has a lot of things in his favor that work well for him in battle. 1, he's highly competitive. You need that to be in battle. 1, he is lyrical, Mike. He's not like Nas or Black Thought, but he's still lyrical, Mike. He's imposing. And I mean imposing not in the physical sense, vocally on the track, imposing. And so, like, getting his point across. 2, Mike, when it comes to getting his point across, he doesn't care how the point gets articulated, which in a lot of realms doesn't work well. In battle, it's perfect because there aren't any rules really about what you can say now, is there?
No, you're right. And he's disrespectful as fuck.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's very disrespectful.
I'm just saying, and it's like, again, it boggles my mind, and we didn't even think about it, or I didn't even think about it during the show a couple of days ago. But how do we not talk about Pest Control? People act like Pest Control never happened.
Well, you want to know what, Mike? I don't talk about Pest Control enough, so I hold myself accountable.
I do.
Be one of those people.
Me too, because I didn't even mention it when we were talking about it the other day.
I didn't. I mean, I told you when it comes to like verses and stuff like that, I try to leave the diss stuff out of there. Like even with the Nas versus Jay-Z playlist that we're coming up with, like even if they plan on playing the Takeover, we don't plan on playing Ether, do we? Because I don't. Like Ether's not.
I was thinking about Ether. I really was thinking about Ether. And for everybody in the chat, we're gonna do
if you want to play the Tupac intro and then get into something else, like I'm cool with that. But like.
Well, you know what? For everybody in the chat, we're actually going to do the mock verses with Rap Roundtable this coming Monday at 8 o'clock. So it should be fun. Get your popcorn ready.
Might need to move that to 9.
9?
Might be.
Okay. We'll work it out. But anyway, it's one of those things where it's like, again, with all of these things on the game's resume, and something else you said really stuck out in my mind too. He is a momentum rapper. And
Yeah,
so like when you look at like diss records, it's perfect for that. When the third verse is that strong, people are waiting for more and more and more. And look at the 300 bars and running, man. It's like,
So, Mike, can I tell you something? And here's what I mean about momentum. On Ether, when Nas is like, is he Dame Diddy, Dame Daddy, or Dame Dummy? Oh, I get it. You Biggie. That's the moment, Mike. That moment's happening towards the latter half of the third verse where it's like, oh, this is over. You know what I'm saying?
a pussy, but yeah.
That's
You
where it
36
happened.
in a
You know what I
karate
mean?
class.
Like for me, it happened on the hook, but for most people, that's where it happened. And where it usually happens is on the third verse. Mike, on the takeover, the takeover is actually about Prodigy, but Mike, where does it really happen though? On the third verse. Nas.
What is the most memorable verse on Ether, would you say? The third verse?
I mean, Mike, the most memorable part of Ether to me is still the hook. But if we're talking verses, yeah, it's that Mike, it's that part. Oh, I get it. You Biggie and he's Puffy. Ew.
What do y'all think is the best? I'm asking the people in the chat. What do y'all think is the best rap line in Ether?
Yeah, that's what I think it is, because it was something that you could like point to and look at his career and be like, oh, well, yeah, that's going on.
Someone said back to back, it was hilarious. Like back to back was one of those things where we didn't expect it, and the lines were clever. I'll give Drake that. He could hit you with a couple of lines where you're like, like Mike, even when he did the little shot at Chris Brown, he was like, you know me as a Chris bottle sender, right. Check picker upper. That shit's hard.
Mike. Drake in that battle, Mike. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of his best moments as an MC. And so that says something about him as an MC, that when the moment called upon it, he had one of his finest moments as an MC. That says a lot about an MC, because it's not just about what you do, Mike. I told you, like a lot of these guys, why I think that they're great. Mike, a lot of my top guys, look at the time when they were great. They're great right around the other guys with Scarface, Nas, Big, Pop, Jay, Rakim. They're not just great unto themselves. They're great around other great guys, and they still stand out. And so they seize the moment. You know what I mean? They're not scared of the moment. And in that moment, he seized the moment and had one of his best moments, you know?
And, we got to give him props for that. And he tried to do that, when it came to Duppy Freestyle, but he ran into something that was, a little bit more than him. And another person who seizes the moment a little bit more. I will say this about Wayne. And as impressive as Wayne's career has been, Wayne's never been proven in that kind of setting in a way that somebody like a T.I. has or a Pusha T. Now, one thing I will say about T.I., I can say that the quality of MC, respectfully, based on how quality of an MC he is, has never really been up to the level of him. If that makes any sense. Because him and Luda didn't really have a head up like in the way that him and Flip did. Or the way that him and Shawty Low, rest in peace, did. You know what I mean?
No, I get it from that perspective, but I think I may be missing the point that you're trying to make.
My point is the fact that, the battle means a lot in hip-hop. Okay. And Wayne has never done that. T.I. has done that. But T.I. has done that. If someone would really start picking into that, he hadn't done that with somebody that's on his level head up.
So what you're trying to say overall is that, okay, so they're comparable MCs. Do you think that T.I. is a better MC, and what you just stated is one of the reasons why? Is that what you're saying?
I think so. I think that's why I would put him, ahead, because he does have more of the overall scope when it comes to just that MC work, and the battle was part of it. When you look at all of the elites, they have been in this situation. Being battle tested. Yes, Johnson Daily Sports says battle tested. Go ahead.
Ain't nobody ever stepped the face like that, so he's the only guy, but that's because ain't nobody stepped the face.
Yeah, I mean, it's I couldn't even imagine Scarface in a battle like that. But just based on his skill set,
about the stuff that happened behind the scenes, he put a whole nother rapper on blast, and the rapper didn't even come from for him, like on record. He was just saying stuff around town, and that was enough to get him ignited, you
I
know?
think, look, based on the skill set and based on his ability to make people feel, I wouldn't doubt Scarface's, abilities in that
That,
circumstance.
that ain't what you
But
want
see,
to
the
do. Yeah, like
thing
that
is, Wayne has had the opportunity. You know what
already.
I'm saying?
No, I
Like
get
the
what you mean.
Pusha T stuff, like Pusha T was, they were poking Wayne, poking Wayne. He's
Poke him
had
for
the
long.
opportunity to show him his battle ability.
I think he never wanted to give Push the energy early on
Mm-hmm.
because Push wasn't big enough, like in the public's eyes. But then it got to a point where it's like, yo, you can't keep letting fam just like spray you whenever he feel like it though either. And with the Ti thing, that's just another one of those reasons, Mike, why I say he is the most versatile MC to ever come out of this region. He checks all the boxes. It's like, you want somebody lyrical? No, he's that. You want somebody who can put a hit record together? No, he can do that. You want a street record? He can do that. It's like whatever you want an MC to do, Tip has it. He's the most versatile MC ever out this region.
Listen, you know how I feel about Down with the King. It's my favorite Ti
One dope
project.
mixtape.
And so it's like when he's in that mode and he's in battle mode, he's actually at his best, in my personal opinion. Now, he
I
has
think,
versatility to do other things, but I think T.I. at his best, just like how Jay is at his best when he's conversational, when T.I. is in aggressive, back to the wall mode, he's at his
yes.
best.
No, Mike, I was about to say when he's agitated, when you hear his agitation, with whatever the agitation may be,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, like the last project of his where I really felt, where I really heard that was the Nick. When he did the Nick, I heard somebody that like felt like people was talking about him like
Yeah.
he wasn't getting the respect that he deserved, and he was agitated, and it reflected in it. Mike, Project Steps, Peanut Butter Jelly,
Yeah. Even
yeah,
songs like I'm talking to you, like when he's
mm-hmm.
agitated or what's up, what's happening, like when he's
I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you as his pinnacle moment to me of him being agitated and at his finest moment. Mike, that's another one of those
who do you
momentum
think
rap
he
songs.
was
Like
talking to?
That third verse. Oh, that was Rhyme of the Year stuff.
Who do you think he was talking to?
Like I never even checked, Mike. I just
I
was like
mean,
in the
it
bar
seems
for
like he
record.
named, when we talk about Cash Money, he named everybody on Cash Money but Wayne.
I mean, it's like they were. That's what I was telling you, Mike. Their comeuppance as artists and major stars is around the same time. It's competitive, so I wouldn't be surprised. But that's kind of how it goes, Mike. That's kind of like when Nas is on Last Real Nigga Alive, and he's talking about y'all didn't know who Kicking the Door was for. You know what I'm saying? But they kicking it, and like, you know what I'm saying? But it's competitive too. You know what I'm saying? Like the game's funny, Mike. It's funny like that. It's like you having drinks with somebody who you taking shots at the next day. It's weird.
I mean, listen, I don't know if people know this, and it was brought to my attention. Imaginary Player is clearly about Mace. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah. Mike, I always felt that, but when you told me that, it like reminded me of like how I originally felt that. And then I was like, nah, I'm tripping. And then you told me and I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, it is. Because who else is he talking about?
Exactly. Who else is Jay talking about in 97? And I think that verse from Niggas Wanna Act, because they all were recording around the same place, same time, whatever. When he said, hustle, what'd he say? I roll hard. Shoot, let me find this. He said, roll hard like when my bank stopped, nigga. Hustle is a hustle, so I don't knock a nigga. Don't really fuck with Dame, but I still cop Jigger. And when Jay said, it's funny how one verse could fuck up the game, that's the verse he's talking about.
Okay, so even with that, so I thought Imaginary Players could have been just about all the young artists that were around the Bad Boy camp at the time. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like I thought that could have been a Lock shot. I thought that could have been a Mace shot. I thought that could have been a Rob shot. You feel what I'm saying?
Now Mace was the guy at the time.
No, Mace was the guy at the time.
Selling records, like, being you, but still you want to be me. Who was selling the records?
But are they not all around each other while Life After Death is getting made? Jay is there, Lox is there, Mace is there, Rob is there. Aren't they all there? So it's like, I thought that's one of those things where, I mean, like, it's competitive. He's around these dudes. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, y'all ain't there with me like with this yet. You know what I'm saying?
Selling records being you, but still you want to be me. I guess for every buck you get, it's like 100 for me. Still walking around like you got something on me. But I done did it. Niggas want to take my flow and run with it. That's cool. I was the first one with it. Who is he?
The future flow, digital, still busting the gap and shit gets critical. Sit it down.
I don't want y'all to get it confused.
Rip it down. Like I ain't got nothing to lose. Get it now? That's my favorite shit, Mike. When he's like that.
Imaginary Player is one of the greatest diss records of all time.
It's just one of my favorite rap records, Mike, because it's like it's one of those few rap records. It's like, man, I just want to hear him rap.
No. Groupies, I leave them all fuck. Niggas all stuck. Your single was 99 cents. Mine was $4.
Last year when niggas thought it was all luck, but this year I done it again. Jigga, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's talking about Mace.
Yeah, he's talking big cat. Like it's just one of those, like that's his moment for me where it's like if you were asking me what his style was and who he was on the mic and how I wanted to remember him, that's the guy that I want to remember on the mic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's him. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know where this shot came from niggas want to act. You know, he had Busta Rhymes on the hook. But I mean, how would you take that, you know what I'm saying, that little bar for me?
But also too, that's one of those things. Jay is around these guys. Like, I mean, let's just call it what it is. Jay got more money than these guys when he walking and pulling up and walking around. Like
well, I think that's the thing too, where like you said, these guys are around each other, or they were around each other. Even the whole Locks and Jay thing happened because how they were treated in the studio. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it could have been one of those things where, you know, him and Mace were in the same space and he just wasn't feeling each other type thing.
Right. Sometimes, Mike, it be like that. Like sometimes you in the space with somebody and it's working, and some days it's like, man, me and him, we just ain't not the day. And it stays with you and you take it with you and bars come out. Like that's what I mean. It's like it's weird because rap is still an emotional thing. So these things stay on dudes' minds and they're recording. You know, so it's gonna come out.
So yeah, the section that we did the other day about the game is really doing well on YouTube. So I guess a lot of people feel where Game was coming from on this. There's not 50 MCs who are more battle tested than him, have the catalog as him, and who are as skilled as him. I don't understand what bridges he's burned, but this ain't the Hall of Fame, man, where the writers could sit here and decide the fate of a baseball player in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to sit here and write Game off because certain people might not be feeling him on a personal level.
Isn't he about to drop an album?
Huh?
Isn't he about to drop an album?
He's about to drop an album. And, you know, he's using this as momentum. But again, he's been dropping quality work. He ain't got to drop nothing else. He's top 30, 35-ish, period. Like, even if you want to just throw some names in there. I think when we were going through the list a couple days ago, I mean, we deduced him to around the 25 to 30 range. Some of those other people were kind of lingering or whatever, but he's still going.
Yeah, 25 to 35 is a fair assessment, like worst case scenario. Yeah. And it all depends. That's why I told you, Mike, this year we need to do like a real ranking where we kind of section everything off. Like, I would like to do a 10 section off category where we literally rank and give everybody a rating based on a scale of 10 different things. Because all these scales, real problem with these scales is that they don't expose weaknesses. They only expose strengths.
I want to ask you, and I want to ask the people in the chat, what would we be rating? Like, what would you say the categorical rating system would be? Like, catalog? Lyrical skill, those can kind of be vague, at least the lyrical skill part. What say you?
Mike, you know if somebody's lyrical if they're not. So if we're talking lyrical skill, some guys are getting a 10. Nas, Big Pun, Rakim, those guys are getting a 10. If we're talking voice, Mike, some guys are getting a 10. Biggie, Method Man.
What does lyrical skill mean? Let's break it down for everybody out there.
I think lyrical skill is a point of articulation at a high level when you're taking a high usage of vocabulary and words and articulating a point in a manner that most in your genre can't. It's the articulation level of it that actually makes it lyrical. It's when you're saying something, but you're saying it in a manner that's making you have an emotion. It's evoking a thought. It's evoking a feeling. So let's go to Follow the Leader by Rakim. Where he's talking about going out into the universe that did something to people because of how he explained it with his words. That's what it means. Like, so if we're giving an example for what it is to be a lyric, to give lyrics and a lyricist, Follow the Leader by Rakim. is the blueprint.
We're getting a lot of great stuff in the chat. Mike 100 says substance. I like that over, I guess lyrical content. I like substance. I like that. And he
So
also
lyrics
says
doesn't
growth
necessarily
doesn't.
mean content, though. You get what I'm saying? Because
That's
sometimes you
true.
can be lyrical and not say anything
But I'm saying
about.
that being a separate,
Yes.
being a separate
Yeah.
category.
Okay. Yeah.
Mike 100 says also growth as an MC. That's something that stood out to me. I like that over longevity. I saw versatility here too. Because the longevity game doesn't always mean your longevity is progressive. So I do like the growth as an MC thing.
I'm writing all this down right now. I'm listening.
Yeah, and we'll go we'll go back in the chat and really start
hold
putting
on.
this together.
So I got lyrics, voice, content, versatility, growth, catalog.
Yeah.
Impact.
Impact's there.
That's 7 right there.
That's 7.
That's 7.
We'll think of some more. Man, I'm seeing a lot in the chat.
Delivery. I mean, Mike, do you consider delivery and cadence to be in the same realm? Like,
I think so. You got voice there too, right?
I got voice down, but the voice is different than your delivery.
Shots Rang Out says storytelling. How important is storytelling ability?
I mean, Mike, if we're talking, okay, so here's
because
the
to
thing.
me, I feel like that's where the battle
content,
tested thing is too. Like
when you're talking about content, Mike, your ability to tell a story to me is tied to that. Because here's the thing about it: if we single storytelling out, some guys specifically are going to come out on top much higher, like Nas, Big, Ghost, Scarface, Slick Rick. Other guys are going to slide further down.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? There aren't as many great storytellers as people think. So I consider storytelling in the sake of fairness to be wrapped into the content. Okay. So those guys might end up getting a 10 for content because they're great storytellers in addition to the content they provide.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Because I was going to ask you, just on a random thought, who's the best female MC storyteller?
Probably Rhapsody. I would think Rhapsody, just off the top of my head, I thought Rhapsody.
Well, I mean, do got MC Light out there.
We can always lean on Light, Mike. I mean,
Eve is a pretty good storytelling MC too, actually.
Eve's a great storyteller. No, I like Eve too. I would like to have seen more and heard more. That's my thing with Eve about everything. It's like, no, right there. See more, hear more.
For me, I feel like Eve, when you talk about how T.I. is for the South, I think that she's probably one of the most, if not the most balanced female MC to ever do it, really. Like, look at just balancing out that mainstream notoriety, her ability to just rhyme on some rap shit, her ability to tell stories, her ability to be feminine, but not too mad. Like, it was a great balance with everything when it came to Eve. Bahamadia is another good one. True Honey Buns, dope storytelling.
Yeah, Bahamadia was dope.
I love Bahamadia.
So what do you think about being battle tested? Would that be a ranking for you? Because what I said, this is a competitive one-on-one type of sport, a la boxing or tennis, where you spar usually against one other person.
But like you said, for somebody like Scarface, who's just never been in those riffs, I don't think that's fair.
Okay. What about freestyle? KRS-One said you're not a real MC if you cannot freestyle.
But see, again, what's the definition of freestyle? It means different things in different eras.
Different people in different eras, yeah. Right.
Because in my era, it meant just going off the top, you know what I'm saying, right. Being able to spit. And in a previous era, it was just a rhyme about, nothing. That could have been
like
written.
Kane said. Yeah, like Kane said, right?
And shit, now a freestyle is a whole damn song.
Right. We don't know. I don't know what's going on.
We can't really define freestyle. It's different in every era.
Okay.
Dark Matter says no battle testing. So no battle testing doesn't matter. It's about the song. Okay. But I will say this though, for somebody who is battle tested, and even if we look at Common in those situations, like
battle tested,
you got to give him points.
Battle test.
When you look at most of the greats outside of Scarface, they've been in that situation.
Yeah, nobody stepped the face. That's why I keep trying to say there's a reason for that, Mike. But what you want to know, what one category, Mike, I've always wanted to bring up that I think really, really matters. It doesn't get stated enough. Level of competition for your peak era. Like, as in, who was around you when you were at your peak?
It's kind of like a PER type of stat, right?
Yes, PER type of stat. How did
Yeah.
you perform at your best against your competition and your peers in your peak years?
I mean, Kendrick Lamar, once again, we're
So he's
ranked
going
pretty
to.
low
Here's the
on
thing
that.
about it. So he's going to
Yeah.
get high points for a lot of stuff. But if we were to go to competition for his era, Mike, he's probably going to get more like a 4 or a 5 or a 3, where a lot of his guys, like, I mean, like, here's the thing, Mike, like Rakim, KRS-One, Cool G, like all those guys are getting like 10s. Nas, Pac, Big, J, they're getting 10s. They had to deal with a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. They had to deal with each other. And then they had to deal with guys like Redman, Lauryn Hill,
Yeah.
Wu-Tang Clan is there, Mike. Like Ice Cube, Mike, that ain't normal climate. That's highly competitive. Who you're up against in the area of your peak matters.
And shit is changing so fast. Soulmatic says quality of opponent matters, and it does. It does. Who do you think, and I want to piggyback off of that comment to ask you, who do you think in hip-hop has had the most quality opponents when it comes to battles?
If we're talking about people taking shots at them, it's Nas. Because Nas is taking shots from Big, Pac, Jay, 50, and Cam. Nobody can say that. So if we're talking about who's taking the shots, it's Nas. But if we're talking about who's giving them the most, Mike, you brought up the Game. That's a viable consideration. I can't think of one person off the top of my head right now.
50 Cent's had a lot, but 50 has lost a lot.
I mean, he hadn't really won one necessarily outside
He won
of
the Ja Rule
one.
Yeah. You don't think he won the Fat Joe one?
I mean, yeah, you can give him that. But I mean, like, look what Kiss did to him on Checkmate.
LL Cool J had Cannabis.
Even Nas with the MC Burial disc. You remember MC Burial?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, don't body yourself.
Well, LL had Kool Moe Dee and Cannabis.
You want to know what? I will say LL just for the fact that LL dealt with peak guys, like guys who were at their peak in their era and dismantled them while they were at their peak. Like whatever they were to people, like he dealt with them at their peak, and their peak wasn't the same after their battles. So
yeah, Kool Moe Dee was a legend. You know what I'm saying? Like he was the OG. Yeah.
He was the guy. He was the guy till L did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was the pioneer for, all the guys that were thriving at that time.
Yeah, yeah.
Some would tell you that that Kool Moe Dee won that one, but that brings about another conversation, and we'll move on. But what actually determines who wins a battle? Because I personally believe that if that Cannabis and LL thing happened in the internet era, it may have been a different outcome. I'm not saying who won whatever, but what actually determines who won a battle? The person that keeps going?
Mike, quality of record matters here. Mm-hmm. Quality of record. And Mike, also, mic performance. That's the thing about the battle, your mic performance. So, Mike, Ice Cube's most memorable mic performance is probably No Vaseline. And it's because of how he approached it. You get what I'm saying?
It's a great record, too.
It's both of those things. That's why it's great. Like, he's great. The record's great. And what you do in battle is it's supposed to bring out the best in what you have to offer. It's kind of tribal in a sense, Mike. It's supposed to bring out that part of you and like kind of show who you are and what you're made of. That's why I love Mama Said Knock You Out so much. It's like, oh, look at him getting off the canvas. It's like on some Gangs of New York shit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that matters. The quality of the record matters. The quality of the MC in terms of what they're doing on the record matters. That's why I tell you the strongest point about Ether is the hook, because that part where he's doing 2 hooks at once is more quality than all of the 3 verses. It's 2 hooks at once.
Well, see, now the problem with
taking his shit while he's doing the hook.
Ether and the Takeover could be debated, right? I personally listen to the Takeover more. The reason why Nas won that is because Super Ugly is terrible.
No, Mike, nobody. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's go to lyricists. This is what I'm talking about, the verbiage when you're using certain words. So he's in a battle with a guy who is having the greatest peak of all time, and his reply is, "I fuck with your solar ether, Mike."
No, you're right.
He coming different when he's thinking about it. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's that highest level of thinking about it. It's like, no, I'm about to give him that. No,
Let me rephrase what I'm saying. What Nas did on Ether.
Soul burns slow.
No, what Nas did on Ether trumped what Jay did on Takeover, because Takeover is not a totally dedicated record to Nas specifically, right? It's not 3 or 4 verses.
That's Jay's fault.
No, you're right. That's Jay's fault. But his opportunity to respond to Ether was an opportunity to go full in, and you dropped the ball.
You want to know why?
It was a good setup. It was a setup without a return serve. What did you think was going to happen? You thought you were going to spit this one verse and Nas wasn't going to come back? Like,
Mike, that's why the hook is so important, because it's like, if you go back and listen to Super Ugly, it's like, well, damn, he did fuck with him, because damn, look at how terrible that was. It's like, think about it, Mike. That was the first undope record that he had released in a very long time, where people were like, what are you doing?
He was on a roll, too.
And it's like, fuck with your solar ether, will teach you the king you know you not, got sun across the belly, lose, I proved you lost already. And then that happened. It was like prophecy, and it was lyrical. It's better than all of the verses. It's better all the verses between both of the songs.
You know, I think we've talked about this before too, but I feel like after Stillmatic and after Ether, Nas pushed Jay to be a better MC again. Because Jay was on some real lazy rap shit, and as great as the Blueprint is, it's kind of carried by production, feel, and approach. He's not super lyrical on there like that. He has a few lines here and there where it's like, you know, what you eat don't make me shit type of things. But he's also on there on some gnarly dude, I puff Bob Marley dude, and all that stuff. Some lazy lyricism. But like you said, when Nas came with Ether, it was just straight up lyricism, and Jay's response to that was, you know, Super Ugly, which was weak. But when he came with the Blueprint 2, you could tell it was a conscious effort, like, I'm going to rap my ass off.
Need to rap again.
Yeah.
He's not
I'm not going to be able to do the lazy, slowed down stuff that I did on Volume 2, Volume 3, and people will eat it up. This guy's rapping crazy right now.
You want to know what he did on the Blueprint, though, Mike? Like, he made up for the lack of the lyrics that are on Volume 1 and on Reasonable Doubt aren't on the Blueprint except for a couple of moments. Mm-hmm. But he had mastered the flow that he was trying to develop by then, and that's where he really came off on that album. He, like Mike, he was like doing like stop and go type of movements on the mic with very few MCs, if any, before I'd seen do consistently on record. Like that conversational flow. Mm-hmm. Got to a zenith to the point that he's damn near talking on record and it sounds great. You don't know.
Shout out to Leroy Green in the building. He said, Mike, Blueprint 2. I was going to mention Blueprint 2, and I think that if Blueprint 2 was the song I'm talking about, not the album, that was the actual response to Ether, this thing could have stretched out a little bit more. I mean, that verse that he gave Nas on the Blueprint 2, it was dope. And honestly, one of my favorite lines in the whole battle is that whole, you know, and your little brother Jungle is a garden to me.
Your little homie Jungle's like a garden to me. You're not as hard as me, not as hard as we.
Well, it's like, can't y'all see that he's fake? The rap verse and the TD Jakes prophesizing on your CDs and tapes. Yeah. He was making a conscious effort.
Yet he won't give you a crumb off the piece that he makes. Yeah. Yeah. No, Mike, it was epic. Mike, it's not Ether and it was too little too late.
No, it was too little too late. I mean, because again, Super Ugly already happened.
But let's not forget, it's like not to just have Ether. There's the Stillmatic freestyle over the Paid in Full beat too. So he sunned them twice, not once. He sunned them twice, not once.
And then there's the last real nigga alive out there. The gift and the curse, fuck that shit. The first should be last. I'm a man's man, a rapper's rapper. G.O.D.
Yeah, so in the beating and after, I was Scarface shit. Yeah. Mike, he took L's all across the board. I don't know why people acting like it didn't happen. But that's neither here nor there.
No. But again, that's all about... Hold on one second. I want to make sure that... Okay, cool. Because I know we're going to get into some articles in a second. We went really off off page or off of
No, we were
course.
talking about just like the battle side of
But
things.
battles
We can talk about that
matter.
more. No, battles is part of hip hop. So it's like anytime we get off into that conversation, it's relative and relevant because it's part of the core part of MCing.
And again, when we talk about the people who did this the best, and kind of going back to our previous episode, if you didn't catch it, it's on our YouTube channel or whatnot. But all these lists that people had, you got to factor in all those things. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if somebody wanted to, for whatever reason, hold that against the MC, that they're not as battle tested as an Ice Cube is, or a Common is, or a T.I. is, or a Jay-Z or a Nas is, they got that right. But the fact that a guy who checks all the boxes in the game is getting left out of the discussions altogether, like y'all acting like this man got a ghostwriter or something.
So
That
let's
ain't
go to
happening.
somebody, and this is what I'm. So let's go to competition too. This is what I mean about somebody like Redman. So look at when Redman's coming out, and then right after he comes out, Wu-Tang comes out,
Yeah.
Big comes out, Nas comes out, Jay comes out. He still makes himself viable in that highly competitive climate of guys that came after him. All these guys came after Redman. He got his burn right in the middle of all of these guys' runs, right there with them. That's part of why he's all-time great to me. That's why usually when I'm doing a top 10 list, he's usually not in my top 10, but he's usually 11 or 12 because I'm very, very clear the level of competition he was dealing with and how he performed.
Well, the thing about Redman that people hold against him is his lack of lyrical content per se, when it comes to what his peers were talking about. If you talk about substance and things like that, right? Subject matter. No. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. But what I will say about Red,
we're not having a lyrical conversation.
No, I agree with you.
Utterly ridiculous.
I agree with you. It's just like I want to say what people say, just like we did with Pusha T last week, right? But see, the thing is with Redman created a whole different lane of rap style. Like you said, I originated all that wild shit, that rah shit. That's him. Like any of that Bullyfoot rap shit, like I'm a Sean Price fan. I'm a Buster fan. That Bullyfoot rap shit, like, yeah. That's Redman. That all comes from the tree of Redman, and I love it. Even Method Man.
Eminem, Ludacris.
Yeah.
Meth, yeah, that's Red.
Even Meth.
Look, yeah, even Meth to a degree, that's Red.
And that's a great transition to where we're going. Okay, I don't know if you saw this article about...
Anybody saying Redman's not a top-notch lyricist does not know what they are talking about whatsoever.
Well, that's not the article I was talking about. Jalen Rose, his co-host, Jacoby, he says Jalen Rose wants Eminem and Busta Rhymes to spit bars in the verses, but David Jacoby, his co-host, said he wants a bigger opponent for Eminem. Let me go to the actual quote.
Hold on, what Jalen Rose be doing? Stop.
So it says, can it be also simple with these two gentlemen spitting bars? This totally makes sense. This is Jalen talking now. He says they are personally connected. That's not going to make it contentious, but yet they both have styles that could go on and on and on. So both of these guys are doing the verses makes total sense. I'm with Swiss Beats. Let's make it happen. And shout out to Dr. Dre. I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl performance. This is what Jalen Rose says. Let's see what his co-host says. All right. Oh, yeah. I saw the Super Bowl lineup, and I was like, yeah, it's so much better than The Weeknd, Bruno Mars, blah, blah, blah. Can't wait for that, but I will say this about Busta and Eminem. What I'll say about Busta and Eminem is recently they've been kind of matched up in sort of a like-minded acts. I can't think of two different styles that would be so different. And when I think of Eminem, I think of sort of a venomous but also extremely well-crafted bars that he pours over again and again. And Busta has all the charisma and energy. I would like to see how that would play out on stage, but if I'm M, I might be holding out for a bigger opponent, bigger than Busta. One time Eminem was filling 100,000 seat arenas. That's what David Jacoby said. What do you think about that? And he didn't really mention any other people who he thought were the bigger acts. And if we're talking about filling stadiums, I'm thinking he's talking about record sales and not just bigger in notoriety. What say you?
I say I don't watch a lot of TV, but that's one of the few shows that I actually watch. I'm a fan of the show. Um, so this is one of those. It's one of those murky lines for me because here's the thing: he's kind of been invited in here. If you watch the show, this is one of the few shows, which is why I like it, that openly brings on all types of rappers. So usually with a lot of these shows and mass media, they usually only bring our real famous rappers on. So Snoop can come on and so on and so forth. Now, like Griselda be on here. They went up to Buffalo for a Bills game.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when you bring people into the format of this culture and make them comfortable with it. And I'm not taking anything away from him. He might be ahead. If I'm not mistaken, he's a New Yorker, so he's obviously probably been raised around a lot of hip hop and hip hop culture. But he has to be very careful because here's what he's not. Well, he's not black now, is he? And here he is speaking on this culture, bigging up a white guy who most of us inside this culture feel like if he were to go against Busta Rhymes, he would get obliterated. So he needs to understand how poorly he's coming off right now inside of this culture in a sphere where a lot of us watch the show because of his co-host mostly making us feel welcome in that sphere. He needs to be mindful.
Okay. I got a lot to say about that too. I want to go to this, this poll that we did on According to Hip Hop because I think it was yesterday. We asked the people what they thought, who would win in the versus Busta Rhymes or Eminem.
So 75 to 25?
Yeah, it was seven. It was over 7,000 votes, and Busta Rhymes got 2,720 votes, but Eminem got 4,311 votes. Eminem won 61% to 39%. I think that there's a lot of popularity there, and that's fine. Because again, no one sold more records than Eminem. I think Tupac's like the closest or whatever. So if we're talking about bigger acts numerically, it's not really any other bigger acts to go to. But what I will say, I really want to see this thing happen because I want to see this catalog get exposed. I'm tired of people sitting here acting like I'm just singling this guy out because of his race or whatever people think. I want the catalog and the music to stand on its own because at the end of the day, this is what this is about, right? We're here for music. If your music stands up, I don't care where you're from, what you did. I'm quoting the Backstreet Boys, by the way. But I don't care about any of that. You know what I'm saying? The music stands alone. And if Eminem's catalog is that strong, let's see. If people think he's going to beat Busta Rhymes 61% to 39%, come on, let's see. Because this isn't one of those things where we could just continuously fantasize about what Eminem would do or whose career he would ruin in a battle or whatever. Ain't nothing but time and opportunity here, right? We got 20 songs. You play your 20 joints, play 20 Busta joints. Let's see what it is. Let's see if all this stuff that y'all have said about this artist all these years stacks up. A bigger act. Who?
This
you want to go against Nelly or something?
No. These are the dangerous things that happen when we let outside media control the narrative. Because what Jacoby is really saying is that for most of my life that I've been following this guy, who has this guy been getting grouped with? Well, he's been getting grouped with Biggie and Jay-Z and Nas and Tupac. And therefore, that is how a lot of people look at him. And Mike, you're accurate when he's saying this. Oh, well, the catalog and the music ain't even nothing close to that. And so when you're talking about it being exposed, well, on that level, it does need to be exposed because if you're thinking that his catalog is like that, oh, you are tripping. For one, I will say this, the songs that people gave us when we did the last show, I think it was either 1 or 2 shows ago when we spoke about him and asked people to name some songs. Mm-hmm. The songs were impressive. If you think that's about to be Busta Rhymes' catalog, you don't know Busta Rhymes' catalog.
The only way to beat Busta Rhymes' catalog is if he throws the fight. And honestly, it would take him some real work to do that. No, you're right.
His catalog is as such that he can't throw the fight.
He can't.
Mike, if he were just to play his singles, it would be enough.
If he go out there and play Get Out of Here or something from Anarchy, I know the fix is in. But even that, he don't have a lot of those.
Mike, I think Anarchy is really the only one that's like that, where it's like, where the bang at?
Yeah, you're right. Cause not fired up. Is it fire? Yeah, that fire. Dun 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 dun. He got some bangers on Anarchy, but you're right. It's not the stuff that was put out.
I mean, Mike, just off his singles alone, he would win almost all of those against him. Like his singles.
Listen,
Like
even regardless,
you can start from Wuha and work all the way down, Mike. And then if you start, Mike, and then when you start throwing in Scenario remix,
exactly.
Flavor in Your Ear remix.
We don't gotta do Scenario remix. We can do the regular one.
Mike, Chris Brown, Look at Me Now.
Yeah.
Killer Scenario, Mike. No, like the 61%. It's like I'm not trying to castigate Eminem, but if 61% of people up on our poll site think that Eminem want to fade Busta Rhymes, no.
See, this is the thing. This is exactly why I say what I say, and this is why I say Eminem's overrated. And I don't care what anyone says, he's the most overrated MC in the history of hip hop because of these things. That's not to say he can't rap or he's whack or whatever, but for anyone to feel like his catalog matched up against Busta Rhymes' catalog deserves a 61 percentile to 39 percentile.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we listening to?
What are we doing?
What are we listening to? And again, I want to see it. Because again, I people pick favorites. People had their favorite rappers. People had their favorite actors. And they let whoever their favorites are get away with anything. You know, y'all love Barack Obama. You know what I mean? But let's just see what happens when these two guys get on stage and go 20-20.
Mike, I done told you about talking about Obama in public, Mike. Keep that behind the scenes. Can't be talking about Obama in public. Keeping that behind the scenes,
I didn't
Mike.
say anything. I said people like him.
Yeah, but you're saying you didn't like him when you said that.
I voted for him twice.
That ain't got nothing to do with liking somebody.
I don't know him. But I'm just saying, this is my thing though, all jokes aside, because I don't want people to get it confused. I just hold people accountable. And I think that the like that we have and the like and love we have for people sometimes gets in the way of people holding people accountable. Andre 3000 was my favorite rapper growing up. I still love him. I still love Outkast, but I hold him accountable.
Hey, Mike, I told you, Mike, Nas made me want to start rapping. Andre 3000 made me believe it could happen. He's from around these parts.
Listen,
and there's a lot of guys like me and like you that feel that way about him.
Outkast changed the way I looked at hip hop music. You know what I'm saying? And Andre was a big part. You know, at least me as an adolescent, really understanding like, yo, you can really go out here and be yourself. You don't have to be this. You don't have to be that, and you can still be accepted as long as you're good at what you do. And I appreciate Andre for that. But with all that being said,
Mike,
I still hold him accountable.
Hold on. No. And you're absolutely right. But quick sidebar about that. Like, Andre is important to the sense that it's like, well, he was so great that he made somebody like T.I. believe, no. I can be, you get what I'm saying? That was the effect that he had, that those that came after him down here felt like they could be the best and at the top of this game, because that was the first time that we saw evidence of it's like, no, he might be the best MC.
Right.
Right.
And it's interesting because that wasn't the narrative while it was actually happening, while he was at his height. They waited until Outkast was inactive to start putting him in these conversations.
I think by Stankonia that had become the conversation, because you had started to notice the brevity at which they recorded and he recorded, and it kind of like AT Aliens and Aquemini, his performances on there lyrically left you kind of like, oh my God.
The Real says, I think you can't discredit Eminem's success or catalog. I'm not discrediting anything. Who am I to discredit what he's done in his career? He's had an illustrious career. But what I am saying, for people to sit here and act like this man would beat Busta Rhymes in a versus at that level, it's like, what music are you listening to? And do you not know Busta Rhymes' catalog? Like, this should be a lot closer. And for Jacoby, on top of that, to say Eminem needs a bigger, he should hold out for a bigger rapper, basically. Like, who else is bigger than Busta Rhymes? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not a lot of guys that got more hits than Busta Rhymes that's on some rap shit, to keep it real. Who's bigger?
Snoop. I told you, Snoop Dogg.
You think listen, man. Listen. Anybody who thinks that Eminem could go head up with Snoop Dogg in a versus when we're talking about music and catalog is on the drugs that Marshall's on. Come on, man. Or was on. I'm sorry. That's crazy. So what you gonna do when he play Murder Was the Case? What you gonna do when he play Gin and Juice? What you gonna do when he play What's My Name?
Mike, just while we were sitting here, I just named 10 Busta tracks right quick. Listen to this. Like, just listen. I ain't even dig deep. This is without digging hard. This is what I'm talking about. Put your hands where my eyes can see. Woo-ha. Everything remains raw. Tear the roof off. I know what you want. Look at me now. Scenario. Give it to me. Give me some more. Flavor in Your Ear remix. If we want to go 11, Scenario remix. Mike, that's off the top of my head. That's without digging. He's a problem.
What about Annie Up?
Mike, I just said that's without me digging. Like that's like as in like my stream of thought, just without me having
in the middle of a live show.
Right, in the middle of a stream thought of a live show, I can pull out 10 or 11 classic joints off the top of my head about Busta Rhymes. That's who Busta Rhymes is, Mike. I forgot about the Annie Up remix because I was just in a stream of thought live. Add that to it. Now we got 12. We live.
People are saying DMX. Well, I see SG is saying DMX low-key beat Snoop in the verses. No, he didn't. And rest in peace to DMX. And, I think we went through that after it happened.
You remember Murder Was the Case came on? Did you hear that? No,
again, that was a game-changing moment right there, at least for me, when we look at these guys' catalog. Because I think it was Snoop's What's My Name versus DMX's What's My Name. And I love DMX's What's My Name. But it ain't even close.
It's not a conversation.
It ain't even close.
But the big moment, even realize it wasn't a conversation until it happened.
The big moment that night for me, like I told you, when DMX played Slippin', which is one of his best songs, and one of the best songs of that era, period.
One of the best written songs.
Yeah, incredible record. And then Snoop came with Murder Was the Case. Sonically, that shit just dwarfed Slippin'. It was like, whoa. I mean, look, I said it then and I'll say it now. I don't think anybody would have beat Snoop that night. Anybody.
Mike, now I'm digging. Mike, now I'm digging. Dangerous. Touch it.
Did you say break your neck?
Pass the Cavassier, Mike. I was about to say it. Break your neck. Come on, man.
You'd have probably pulled out 20 by now.
Mike, make it clap. He's got stuff everywhere, Mike. This is his stuff. It's a Party with Jeanne. You want me to keep going, Mike? We just named about 17 records.
I don't even think he gonna do It's a Party with Jeanne.
I mean, he can. He's still gonna win.
Yeah. Even though we know Janet Jackson's not gonna come out, but if he does that record, I mean, what response do you have for that?
It's not too many responses in rap for that record, unless you made "I'll Be There for You," or you know what I'm saying? Like what you got?
Honestly, I think that's the matchup.
Beautiful
really.
by Snoop Dogg.
I think Method Man and Busta Rhymes is actually the matchup.
Be more highly competitive than this is because.
But I want to see this though. Like Terminator 2 says, I want to see this.
If M plays it perfectly, he's going to lose 12-8. If he plays it perfectly, he's going to lose 12-8.
I want to see this, and the fact that Dr. Dre put this out there either means that they're doing promo for the Super Bowl, which you don't need to do promo for. It's the fucking Super Bowl, but. It makes me feel like it's going to happen if Dre said it. If Dre put it out there, it makes me feel like it's going to happen. I hope it does because I want to be proven wrong. All you Eminem fans out there, you hear me? I want to be proven wrong. I want Eminem to go out there and smoke Busta Rhymes 61% to 39% or whatever people say.
Mike, light your ass on fire. Busta, what it is right now.
What it is right now is crazy. As I come back, it's crazy.
It's crazy, Mike.
The energy is crazy. I don't like how they're trying to write Busta Rhymes off as just like a performer, like he's not an MC or something. Because I think somebody was talking about, I think in the chat, they were saying, not in the chat, in one of the comment sections, they were basically saying Eminem's the lyricist, Busta Rhymes is the performer. I'm like, wait. Busta Rhymes is the lyricist too.
Mike, we just named 16 records live that Busta got.
Yeah, not even thinking.
I'm sorry, Scenario Remix would make it 17. 17.
He wouldn't even have to do that, but again, that's a great one too.
Mike, if he were to play these 17 songs and leave 3 slots blank, he would win.
But sonically, like you said, Scenario Remix, that beat is a problem.
That's why I would say the remix
That
over the
beat is a
original.
problem. You know he's on the remix of well, it was an unreleased remix. I think Just Blaze played it in one of his mixes to Pump It Up, Joe Budden, because they used the same sample as the Scenario remix, and so he kind of used pieces of that verse. So let's just say in a show setting, and he was
Mike.
really trying to obliterate somebody, he could do that verse and then go right into that Pump It Up shit.
Or Mike,
seamlessly.
he could drop that Biggie Nas Method Man track that we didn't know that he had till recently.
What about the track with him and Method Man? That was a crazy record too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, have you heard about the unreleased track where Big is taking shots at Pac on the record that Busta didn't release? It's got Nas, Meth, and Big on it. Like Nas and Meth came to a couple sessions, Big didn't show up, and they didn't want to go till Big went, and then Big went, and then they went. The Busta didn't want to release it about all the tension. Like he got shit like that in there too. Like he came up in an era where there's a lot of shit like under the surface that just him bubbling it up would make niggas go wild. Just like if Q-Tip were to play Primo's original version of Memory Lane. You feel what I'm saying? Like Busta got shit like that too.
Well, I think Busta Rhymes had the halftime beat first, right?
I think so. I think that is how memory serves.
Yeah. Victory, all kind of stuff. Man, listen.
Victory.
I pray that it happens.
Victory, Mike. That's good, Mike. That stadium flow, Mike.
The Dilla joint is crazy too. He got a few Dilla joints. Turn me up some.
You got Mike. That's what I'm saying. Y'all think him gonna win this? Are you listening to the stuff that we saying?
Listen. We're all out of the hyperboles and what could happen. Let's do it.
These are facts.
I want to see it. I want to see it. I pray to God it happens.
These are actual facts. These are 18 records right here.
I hope it happens. I hope it happens. Okay. I don't even know where to go from there. You know what? This is where we're going to go from there. Kanye released a statement saying that Donda 2 is coming out February 22nd, 2022. And it's going to be executive produced by Future. Side note, on that same day, he's having a fashion show that's going to just hire homeless people on Skid Row. And he's donating all of the proceeds from that event to the organization that, you know, closed the homeless people that are on Skid Row. It says like 60,000 homeless people out there on Skid Row right now, estimated. It's crazy.
It's terrible.
It's terrible.
No, that's very admirable. As far as the music is concerned, I just hope that he doesn't put the engineer through slavery like he did on part one. So
sounds like he's taking his talents to LA this time around. So Donda 1 was in Atlanta.
The engineer is who I'm thinking about this time around, Mike. How about that?
So
I'm looking out for the engineer. Can we not put the engineer through slavery?
Well, with Future being the executive producer, it might be done in Atlanta again. Who knows? Yeah, everybody press the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the page and, click the bell icon, all that stuff. Tell a friend that we live. We talking Donda 2. You didn't think a lot of Donda 1. I like Donda 1.
There's
it's
not
interesting.
a lot to think about.
It's interesting because you went to the listening event, the first
there
one.
There's not a lot to think about.
Tell the people. Hold on. Coop.
Good.
Tell the people, because, I know we have a lot of new listeners now. Tell the people what your experience was like when you went to the listening event, the first listening event for Donda in Atlanta.
The experience was very memorable. I saw the range of his audience. I saw the full motion of his power to draw people in. You can feel the energy. He has legitimate stands, which I had never seen really live before. Last time I saw him, it was early on before he had rose to become the figure that he was. I hadn't seen him since then. So I can contextualize the effect of what it was like to see him early and seeing him late. And so that was probably the biggest difference for me. I told you, Mike, I was in the stadium next to a guy that from the moment he came out, held his phone up like this and did not move for the entirety of the show while he was next. Like this, because he wanted to catch every single moment. Like Mike, before the show was starting, he was clearing out space next to me. It was serious.
It's historic.
So it's historic and it's special. Music don't slap like that.
I think, I didn't
Next, when I go to a Prince show, Mike, when you went to the Michael Jackson show, you know what we got? We got that effect and we got the music that came with it. You want to know what this didn't have? The music that came with it. I just want the music
I was
to
gonna
come
ask
with
you
it.
though, what do you think that? And I know you said this in previous episodes, and we could talk
I don't
about
care what
this
your subject
further
matter is.
now. What do you think that Donda lacked mostly?
Engineering,
Okay,
consistency, quality, clarity, conciseness, editing.
it did seem like there was a lot left on the cutting room floor.
Shit's a mess.
You know what? I can see that. I think the things that I took away from it that I actually liked were just the mixing and matching of people that were actually on these tracks and the subject matter that they were able to take on. I think I said during our review that he was able to take guys who don't really talk about much in their music and get them to dig in and talk about something.
No,
But
let's
I
add
do
to it.
understand what you're saying there. Sonically, it wasn't appeasing because even with all of those things that were pulled from it, there's a way that the quality control could have been at a better state. It could have been polished a little bit more, but I
A
feel
little
like
bit.
artistically that's where he was going, what he was going for. Not such a polished look. He started that with Yeezus, man, and I think that
Mike,
that's kind of
Mike,
a Rick Rubin-ish type of mentality. You know what I'm saying?
Mike, if it's gonna sound like Enter the Wu Tang, it needs to sound like Enter the Wu Tang. Like you don't get away with that if it's not there. You get what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
sound you're talking about, that in the basement sound. Oh, it works when the MCs are gritty and they're grimy, and you can feel the hunger in the beats and in the MCs, and the energy is there. But when you just try to make it sound gritty and there's nothing gritty about it, slavery to the engineer.
So you think digital artists, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but people who, I mean, look, people who are of like the auto tune era, their music has to be a little bit more polished to be, at a high level. Because again, when you're talking about Into the Woo, these guys are gritty MCs and they spitting. So it's like that kind of matches, but
Matt
the auto
makes it.
tune era of MC and you have to be a little bit more polished with your approach.
I don't say it have to be polished, Mike, but okay, so let's what he was trying to do, or at least, as far as my eyes can see, is that he was trying to put the best version of a hip hop gospel album that he could together.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay, that don't need to sound dirty. That need
Yeah.
to sound clean. You feel what I'm saying? Because if that's what you're trying to pull off, that's something that the crispness and the exactness and the preciseness of it needs to come through, so that prospective listeners who are going to judge are going to critique it on the merit of the musicality of it as well. He's a producer. The musicality isn't strong, as in virtually non-existent, as in sparse, as in baseline driven and not much more, as in all over the place and poorly engineered, as in a mess. He's one of the greatest producers that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
What?
Someone in the chat is saying that Nasir's mix was a mess too.
Yes, it is. They're right. The delay on it was the mix to get Puffy's verse on, and it still sounds terrible.
That's interesting, man, because weeks before that we got Daytona.
This shit don't work sometimes. It gotta match. This doesn't match. This doesn't match the engineering and the sound space and the soundscape of it. It doesn't match the message that he's trying to convey. It doesn't match the vision. It doesn't match anything that he's trying to do. That's
I
why I
don't
said it sound like slavery.
I'm not trying to make excuses for Kanye, right?
You
But
are, but it's okay.
no, I think that he attempted. I think it was done like that purposely. But
Oh, it
when he
was?
but when he does those things, it
Yes.
doesn't translate as well as like you said, into the 36. I think that's what he's trying to get to cuz he's always talked about how his drums don't hit like, what I'm saying, like Timbaland, or his drums don't hit like even Just Blaze. He's giving Just Blaze that props. He said his drums are weak. So when he needs stronger drums, he goes to other people for that. I think he understands where his shortcomings are, And I think one of his shortcomings at this point is making like that raw sound where it's like you're not bailing me out with I hate to say this, with like a 6-piece orchestra or something. You know what I mean? Like he's trying to find a way where he can make some dope stuff that is totally simplified, and I don't think he's mastered that yet, because when y'all bring up Nasir's mix, he probably was going for like a raw sound that he wasn't going for on Daytona, and it just didn't work on the Nasir because he did everything perfectly the way he knows how to do it and is comfortable doing it on Daytona, if that makes any sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. But here's what, okay, so Mike, he did pull it off actually before. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, gorgeous.
But see, that's a polished album.
No, but that song is the most unpolished song on there. It's noticeable, but it still sounds beautiful. You want to know why? Cuddy and Ray are on there. There's a grittiness that they brought to the track. It made sense. This don't make sense, because here's what I have to say, because this is what I mean when you're talking about he's getting them to talk about, like Mike, when gospel music is meant to fill the spirit, okay? And so that's what I'm talking about, making it clean and making it crisp for the ears to hear. It's something that's supposed to fill. You're not supposed to be worried about the muffledness or something. Everything's supposed to come through clearly. You know what I'm saying? So if he's trying to reenact the Psalms, it's like, oh, well, David didn't need shit but a guitar and a tambourine and some words to get his point across, but it's clean and it's clear. You read the word, it's clean and it's clear. This is not clean. This is not clear. If he's going the gospel route, the message needs to be clean and clear on all levels to get the point across properly, because the point of gospel music is to fill the spirit. So all this throwing it in the mud is like he can try to play that game with other people who don't read the word if he wants to. And that's why I'm telling you about some of my issues that I have with some of the stuff that he says. It's like, oh, tell that to somebody that doesn't read the word. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. Don't tell that to me. And don't try to sit up here and make this poorly engineered, poorly pieced together album like some sort of timepiece that it's not. It doesn't sound good music wise on a few levels, mostly production, from a guy who made his mark as what? A producer.
Well, he was definitely the producer on Donda as well, like, because it was so featured.
And it's one of his worst production jobs, if not his worst production job. It's probably his worst production job.
I think the thing is, I think that he's made comments in the past saying that, you know, he's shown that he can make a perfect album for himself with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and with B, he's able to, you know, bring the best out of Common, or, you know, with John Legend or whatever. He said,
Blueprint.
And he's always said, yeah, that when it comes to him, it's like, it's time to experiment now. Like, my job as a producer artist is to fuck shit up and see what sticks. The problem here is it wasn't just him. And it was a bunch of other artists that you pulled into this melee, and it didn't really connect a lot for them. It might have been a little bit better if it was just him, but who knows? Because I wasn't even a big fan of that Ye album. I don't ever listen to that.
I listen to nothing off of there.
I listen to Yikes, but that's about it.
Yikes is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You want to know what? First of all, you need somebody to tell him no around him. Just in my humble explanation, be like, no, that's not going on there. Like, that ain't it. No.
I mean, based on Daytona, it sounds like, you know, Pusha might have said no a few times.
I think that might be the guy that needs to say no, because they appear to be, you know, still close. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So he might be the guy to say no. Mike, I mean, the shit that you're doing for Pusha, transfer that over to what you're trying to do over here, because Pusha shit that you do for him, it be coming through clean and crisp and with clarity. That's what I'm talking about. It's like, if you want people to hear the message, you have to deliver the message in a way that people want to hear, which is clean and crisp. Don't nobody want to hear Into the 36 Chambers, the gospel album. You see what I'm saying? Don't nobody want to hear that.
No. No, you're right.
Why is nobody saying this but me? Why is nobody saying this but me? I don't know what it's very problematic that nobody is talking about, like, how, like, this is the worst production job of his career. It's poorly engineered. It's poorly pieced together. I don't give a shit if it has a few highlights. I don't.
Well, Future is going to be executive producing the new one, so we'll see where that goes.
Free mans, Mike. Free mans, yes.
All right. Today is Rakim's birthday.
It is. God.
Rakim's one of the greatest MCs of all time, in my personal opinion. My favorite lyricist of all time. Incredible lyricist, and when you think about the era that he was doing it, it's just mind-boggling. I often refer to him as like the Wilt Chamberlain of this shit, where he was just so ahead of the game.
Toughest competition. Had the toughest competition ever. He's the greatest MC that had the toughest competition. If he's number one from his era, his competitive list of who's after him is the longest list of competition.
This is true. What are some of your favorite Rakim songs? I know you put together a top 5 Rakim list.
I need some help from you. You know, we were just pressed for time. We've been getting more pressed for time. That's a blessing.
Yeah.
But just off the top, Mike, I thought I can't follow the leader, Mike.
Okay.
Like follow the leader for me is where supreme rhyme MCing and style starts. Like I know KRS-One and Rakim himself like proceeded with some of their performances, but follow the leader is next level lyrically, unlike anything that we've heard before, in my estimation.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the moment that he made that song, it was clear to me the most lyrical song that had ever been put down on wax and on record. And to
Lyrics
this day,
Fury.
Mike, and to this day remains one of those records. How far ahead of this time?
I think Lyrics of Fury definitely stands to that as well, which was
lyrically, Mike, but he's not. You know, people are bobbing their head to follow the leader too, in a way they're not bobbing their head to Lyrics of Fury. That's why Lyrics of Fury is at the bottom of the list of some of the songs that I may need your help deciding on, but Follow the Leader is definitely in there. Mike, here's another one, Mike. Microphone Thing.
Yeah, that was another one that came to mind when you said Follow the Leader.
I think that's one of his top 3 quotable songs, Mike. I think that might be the song that MCs borrow from the most, specifically as far as taking bars from him. I was a fiend before I became a teen. I melted microphones instead of cones of ice cream, music orientated. So when hip hop was originated, fitted like pieces of puzzles, complicated. Yeah, just those bars that I just listed. Yes, how many MCs have taken those bars that I just said and flipped them over the years, Mike? And there's about another 40 bars to go after that. 42, I think.
Bars.
Right. Bars.
Where are you going at number 3?
Eric B is president, Mike, because that is.
I might make that number 1, but I know what your number 1 is.
I don't have a order to this. I was just naming it, so we can kind of let people decide the order, because I didn't even think it was fair to try to give an order to these records, because they're all super important. Eric B as president is definitely his most important record, Mike. I mean, I don't think I need to state that. That just is what it is. I came in the door. I said it before.
That's the most quoted.
Like all this
the way he's rapping on there is crazy.
Mike, I'm telling you, like when the Source came up with the hip hop quotable of the month, they were thinking about the stuff that this guy was saying, because it was so quotable for the time. I came in the door. I said it before. I never let the mic make. People were doing the walk to that shit and saying the words.
Yeah, man. He was like, when he came in there on that second verse, he was like, damn, I just had it at the top of my head. You start quoting that one, I made me forget. I came in the door, I said it before.
No tricks in 86, it's time to build.
Yeah, I don't bug out of chill.
Before that. You're right.
I don't bug out of chill, I just acting ill. No tricks in 86, shit's time to build. Every Big Easy on the cut, no mistakes allowed. Cause to me, MC means more with the crowd. I made it easy to dance to this. Now can you digest what's coming next from the flex of the wrist, making eating up seat. When my man made a mix, if you bleed it, ain't gonna need no band-aid to fix. And he would kept going. Like, I wish I was there when that shit dropped, man. I can't imagine. Like, your mind's got to be blown to hear somebody rapping like that. Like,
I told you when Nas came and took Jay down off his peak, that was the second biggest peak ever. We're talking about the biggest peak ever, right?
He was rapping like that in 1986.
He was rapping like this in 1986.
That's insane.
Literally 10 years ahead of the curve. Literally 10 years ahead of the curve.
I can't hold it back. I'm looking for the line, taking off my coat, clearing my throat.
It might be the most quotable line on the whole song. Mine, taking off my coat, clearing my throat. Like, two that. Songs have been made about it.
Yeah, man. It's insane, man.
Mike,
self-esteem make it seem like the thought took years to build. Jeez.
Still say a rhyme after the next one. Prepared, never scared. I'll just bless one. Mike, I'm going to go with something that's off the off-beaten path, but I'm going to tell you why it's important.
Know the ledge.
Nope. That's one of the ones that we're going to have to argue about for top 5, Mike. I'm putting Mahogany in his top 5 songs because it's the only song that really shows his diversity. This is where he steps out the box and delivers. All the other songs he's in the box delivering. This is the classic record where he's outside of his box and he delivers. And it also is the birth of one of everybody's favorite hip hop records and mine and yours, New York State of Mind. That is where that bar comes from. I said everything's fine, but I'm in a New York state of mind.
That's important.
It's
you
important.
know what? The wild card I'm going to put in there, and I know he denies it to this day, but Summertime by the Fresh Prince.
I'm not doing that with you again. He wrote that record. I'm not doing it with you.
Come on, man. He wrote that song, man. I get it. He probably got paid. Can't say he wrote it, whatever. Come on, man. Has Will Smith ever rapped like that before or after?
Never, not once.
Ever. Just the vocabulary alone, the way he's approaching the song, Rakim wrote that song. This is deeper than just being inspired.
Mike, pre-podcast days, and you know this, about the fact that I felt Rakim wrote that song online one time, myself and a former member of Public Enemy got into a very heated and disrespectful debate, and just about the fact that I was even like I had to disrespect somebody from Public Enemy, and it's just like just about the fact that I did that. You remember when I did that? Just about the fact that I did that, Mike. I just promised myself when I woke up the next day. It's like, you want to know? I'm never doing that again. I'm never arguing about the song again. I'm never talking about the song again. I just disrespected somebody from Public Enemy yesterday, and it was like I was trying to like wash it off. And
I mean, listen to shit like, the smell from a girl could spark up nostalgia. Will, really? You know what I'm saying? All the kids playing out fun. Little girls messing around with, little boys messing around with the girls playing double dutch. That's so Rakim, especially around that time. Because
that sounds very in the ghetto-ish, Mike.
Exactly.
Delivery and flow-wise.
Exactly. And this is the thing. If you're inspired by Rakim, why aren't you taking from like Follow the Leader or Paid in Full Rakim?
How about this, Mike? If Rakim didn't wrote that, that's the best Rakim impersonation ever. Nothing that's on Illmatic. Nothing that's on Illmatic is like, taking like that is.
And I clearly believe that Summertime is one of the greatest hip hop songs of all time. Rakim wrote that song. Here 20. It is, grooves like transform, just a little break from the norm. Just a little something to break the monotony of all that hardcore dancers gotten to be. Monotony? Really? Come on, man. You know what really got me is when he was like, the Summer Madness line. That is straight up from...
Like it's the way that he freaked it into the Summer Madness line. It's the way he was freaking the style.
That's straight from Move the Crowd, man. Like, come on, man. Because I'll never forget the face that Flav made when Rosenberg asked Rakim if he wrote that song. And Rakim said no. And Flav looked at him like, really?
Right. Like I said, Mike, the only reason I disrespected somebody from Public Enemy that day. And that's my bad hip hop moment in my life. So.
All right, so you're not going to put Summertime in. I will. And you have...
I have a collection of another 5 songs I'd like the fans to decide upon.
Okay.
Paid in Full. I Ain't No Joke. Lyrics of Fury. In the Ghetto. And Know the Ledge. But Mike, think about...
Hold on. Spencer Overton says something in the chat. He said Will Smith talks about it in his book. What exactly did Will Smith say in his book about it? Because I didn't read the book.
I didn't. The book came out last year. I should have picked it up. I like Will. I told you, man, I've been messing with Will since he was the Fresh Prince, the rapper.
Will did go in on Brand New Funk. That's what Charles Carter says. Yeah, man. I think that was one of his shining moments as an MC. But
Will MC.
It's just hard. Listen, it's just hard to believe that you make such a perfect record like Summertime and you never go back to that approach ever again.
It's a beautiful, beautiful record.
It's a beautiful record. And you know how the industry is. People will be like, yo, we need another Summertime. Exactly.
Oh, he's talked about people telling him that. He's talked about that.
Somebody said Nas wrote Summertime. That was like 92, wasn't it?
No, Nas wrote Miami. Not summertime.
No, the thing is though, like I said, what's the album? Not Don't Sweat the Technique. The one before that.
Let the
Let the
rhythm hit
Rhythm
him.
Hit Him. I love Let the Rhythm Hit Him. No Omega,
No
Ghetto,
Omega,
all of that.
Mike.
But
Yeah.
anyway, like the way he's rapping on that album sounds just like Summertime.
That's where he found that style because
Yeah.
he's, like you said, Mike, he was older. His voice had changed. But also, too, Mike, he had gotten into more of the rhythm side of things. Like he comes from a jazz family. He got into more of making his voice sound like a melody on record. You know what I'm saying? He was making his voice into an instrument. Like he's like, no, I got the rapping part of it down. I think I'm going to make my voice into an instrument for the third album.
Who do you want to go to next? Because we got another birthday celebration. We got J. Cole. Let's just go to J. Cole.
Let's go to Cole. I want to hear from the people what they think Cole's 5 best records are, because his were the toughest 5 best to pull from. Because, like I said, Mike, he has so many records in that good to great middle ground, and he doesn't have. I mean, Mike, Rakim's top 15 songs are all epic standout moments. Like he's like 15, 20 deep, but like and they're all epic standout moments. J. Cole doesn't have that. He's not Rakim. Nobody's Rakim. But
happy 37th birthday to J. Cole. What we want to ask is, what are your 5 favorite J. Cole songs? Or is the question, what are J. Cole's top 5 best songs?
I immediately thought Love Yours and January 28th.
Okay. It's tough for me, man, because a lot of his records, they're like, he's so consistent.
That's what I mean, Mike. He doesn't. Mike, you want to know who he is? In a lot of ways, he's Tony Gwynn.
Okay.
He's always going to be up at the top of the leaderboard for the batting leaders because he consistently, Mike, gets on base all the time. Tony Gwynn, I don't think ever hit more than 30 home runs 1 or 2 times.
Did he ever hit that many? Damn.
I think he hit 30 home runs 1 or 2 times, maybe 1.
That's impressive for Tony Gwynn.
But always hit 20 home runs, Mike, and was always on base. That's kind of cold to me. Like, he's always on base. So is he like Barry Bonds? Ken Griffey to me? No, but there's nothing wrong with being Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn's a Hall of Famer and the best hitter of the last 50, 60, 70 years, easy. Unless you want to make a case for Barry Bonds.
This is what we got here in the chat. We got Neighbors. We also have Role Model. We got Workout. I think JB90 might have been trolling a little bit. Mad Max says Lost Ones. We got Wet Dreams. We got the Autograph. Crooked Smile.
No.
Love Yours. Kevin's Heart. January 28th.
Yeah. Mike, Neighbors is on my list too. I got Neighbors at number 3. I actually have January 28th, Love Yours, Neighbors, and Power Trip. And then I wanted to hear about the 5th one.
I see Power Trip here. I see Runaway. Lost One comes up again.
I like Runaway.
Window Pane. For Your Eyes Only. 3 Wishes. The Uchiwali freestyle. That was pretty dope.
I don't know if that's top 5.
Rise and Shine. God's Gift. New York Times.
A lot of stuff.
Window Pane. He's got a lot of material.
Mike, which one? Like, okay, so for me, that's why I picked January 28th, Love Yours, Power Trip, and Neighbors. Those were the records that stood out the most to me. All of those other records I consider to be in the same vein. And not to say they're not quality or even great records. I just was like, well, 5 best songs? It's like, oh, I don't know.
How do y'all feel about Tale of Two Cities?
I like Tale of Two Cities a lot. That's consideration for me.
Yeah. I think January 28th is definitely there. I keep seeing Window Pane.
Yeah, that's his favorite. That's my favorite J. Cole record is January 28th.
I mean, Forest Hill Drive is my favorite J. Cole album.
Everybody's favorite J. Cole album.
Apparently, we got My Life in there.
Apparently, I gave Apparently some consideration. I have Apparently written down.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, he's amassed such a really dope catalog over the years. His activity is dope, too.
You want to know what, Mike? He's like, it's so much for Mike stuff. He's great at making for Mike songs, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't have, like I said, Mike, he definitely doesn't have like a One More Chance or a California Love or nothing. He doesn't have that, but he doesn't have like it. And If I Ruled the World either.
Well,
You
see,
know
I
what I
don't
mean?
think that he comes up in the era where those type of hits are expected. Drake's the hit maker of their era, but I think what people do expect is a Good Kid, Mad City, or a Section 80,
I think Forest
or
Hills
To
Drive
Pimp
is
a
that.
Butterfly.
No, Forest Hills Drive is that.
Do you think Forest Hills Drive is better than Damn?
Ooh, comparable. I would watch it.
Do you think Forest Hills Drive is better than To
The
Pimp a
peak, mo- the
Butterfly?
peak, the peak moments of Damn are better than the peak moments of Forest Hill Drive, but both beautiful from beginning to end.
Yeah.
I'd rather listen to Forest Hills Drive than listen to Pimp a Butterfly, even though To Pimp a Butterfly is clearly a better album. Rather
Okay.
listen to Forest Hills.
Is Forest Hill Drive better than Section 80?
Hell no.
So of
Ask if
all
it's better than
four,
Good Kid, Mad
so
City.
pretty much all four of Kendrick Lamar's albums are better than J. Cole's best album.
I told you the problem with the conversation with Kendrick about the competition. If you're telling me that Cole is his competition, well, his competition's best album would rank about 3 or 4th at best on his catalog line, and that's a problem. Because, Mike, this is what I mean about competition. It's like, well, I say Nas is the GOAT. Well, let's go take some of Big's catalog. Oh, Ready to Die and Life After Death is better than almost everything Nas has made. Reasonable Doubt's better than almost everything Nas has made. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Competition, Mike. It matters. Like if I was, like Mike, if you was ranking, like if you was putting out, like let's go from 94 to 97 and rank Big and Jay and Nas's albums because they all made 2. How would you rank them?
96
We got
and
Illmatic,
97.
It Was Written, Volume 1, Reasonable Doubt, Life After Death, and Ready to Die. How are you ranking? That's what I'm talking about with competition.
Yeah, no, you're right. And those are very, very heavy. And if you put
Like
that in
Volume 1 is
another
coming in
era,
6. Mike, Volume 1 is coming in 6, and Illmatic is coming in 1st. Everything else is like, oh shit.
yeah, that matters. I think
Yeah,
for Kendrick, man, he's in a unique position where in his era he's made the best albums, and he's made them in years where it wasn't much competition in those individual years. Like I feel like things might have been different if Damn would have dropped in the same year that Alfredo dropped. You know what I mean? Or From a King to a God dropped or something like that.
I think both of those projects are better. And how about this? How about this? Because here's the thing about it: their peak moments on there, well, they match his peak moments on Damn.
Yeah.
And what stands out about Damn is the peak moments. Well, Alfredo's peak moments match Damn's peak moments, in my opinion. Baby Shit, 1985, Scotty Beam. The fact that he named it Scotty Beam.
Yeah. That's nuts. All right. Speaking of Scotty Beam, Rick Ross is his birthday, has a birthday today as well. Happy birthday to Rick Ross, man. Now, choosing 5 Rick Ross songs, that's difficult.
No, choosing 5 Rakim songs is... Yeah, no, you're right.
I mean, because Rick Ross just has so much material, man. And you know, choosing 5 Rakim songs, yeah. I mean, you kind of just start picking your favorites. But again, you start thinking about the most impactful in the game. But
he's 15 deep on classic joints, Mike. Like he has 15 songs that are instant classics. That's why it's like that's why I was like, no, he beat Jay in a versus because Jay don't got 15 songs that are instant classics. Not 15.
See, that's an interesting thing, man, because Jay has such a long catalog.
Not 15 instant
no,
classics.
No, I agree with you. What I'm saying is like people don't look at LL and Rakim like they could beat Jay, but the thing is they have game-changing songs.
They have game-changing songs. It's different.
Yeah. Well, we did see Rick Ross in his verses against 2 Chainz, and you know, and I love 2 Chainz. I think that was one of the more lopsided verses that we have seen, because Rick Ross just has so much material, and it's so much that he didn't even mess with. I think that his best song, if we want to talk about like, what's the one song that everybody heralds Rick Ross for? BMF has to be that.
I have it on my list.
It has to be the song. Like, when he was doing his verses, I thought he was going to close out with BMF. I think he
Did you?
opened up with it or something. Yeah. Um, I'm a big fan of Hustling. I think that was a strong breakthrough. But I want to hear your list because you really support Ross
I
and
do.
you give Ross a lot of high marks as the icon that he is, and I agree with you. He is an
I'm
icon.
gonna tell you why, because I can't think of any artist. See, because you're much more impressionable when you're younger, Mike. So there were a lot of guys when I was younger that I wasn't initially fans of that made me into a fan. But no artist as a grown up has made me into a fan when I wasn't a fan initially, the way Rick Ross has. And that's why I speak of him so highly, because he took somebody like me who was not a fan of his and he made me a fan with his ability to grow into a great MC, with the consistency quality of the albums that he put out, with these great songs that he put out, with these great collaborations that he put out, with these street bangers that he put out. Mike, by the time his third, fourth album came around, I didn't have anything that I could say about him. I was like, well, hold on. I was like, it's like,
Yeah.
oh no, he got it.
Yeah.
Never mind, my bad. I'm sorry. And by the time when God Forgives and I Don't came out, and I was like, and now he has an album that I can play from beginning to end. I don't have anything else to say about dude. Nobody has made me a fan.
Magnificent's a good one. People are naming some good ones in the chat because he has a lot of good ones. Someone said that Rick Ross' catalog is better than Kendrick Lamar's.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Maybe not album for album per se, but if you talk about
like
the
Kendrick
songs,
Lamar's 4 best albums,
yeah,
are better than Ross's 4 best albums. But if you were to open those albums out and go song for song, Ross is actually going to win that. Right. Because Kendrick is a master at putting a full album together in terms of how it plays, but song for song, not with Ross.
What do you think about the songs like Magnificent and Super High?
I love those, and I have all of those super high. But I'm going to tell you what I have at number 1, because I did put a song at number 1 for him, because I think it's the song that really embodies his whole style and his whole movement. And that's Amsterdam, Mike. Woo. Amsterdam to me is the record. Like, if you were like play your Ross shit, Coop, like put Amsterdam on. That's that Ross shit. It's a whole movie, Mike. Every time Amsterdam comes on, it's a movie.
Another record I love from him that doesn't get a lot of play is Rich Off Cocaine.
I like Rich Off Cocaine. I'm going to tell you another one I got on my list, Mike. Mike, I love Santorini, Greece.
Santorini, Greece was mentioned in the chat.
Should be, Mike. Santorini, Greece to me is like Amsterdam Part 2.
I mean, when he played that at the Versus, man, it was like,
I told you, Mike, that's when I realized it was over. I was like, yeah, this is over. It's like, it's over right here. I was like, because he in his bag right now. He in the bag right now.
Amsterdam was, that was what, 2012. Now,
like when you playing Santorini, Greece, Mike, like that's when I knew it's like, oh, you know what we riding to. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, oh, no, this is over because he's in pocket. He know what's going on.
I got a quick story about Amsterdam, because that's back when my people used to live in Miami. You know, shout out to Will. And, you know, I used to go down there frequently, man. And, you know, when you go to Miami, you rent the convertibles, do the whole thing or whatever. But this album was out at that point, and I would go over that bridge, man, headed to South Beach and be blasting that, man, like the Miami night skies.
It's a movie.
Perfect, man. So, I mean, I'm partial to that record. That's probably my favorite Rick Ross record. Beautiful record. I love when he's in that mode, man. Like,
yes.
And he does that mode so well. You know what I mean? And
you want to know what it is? It's conversational, just like Jay. And he's the best person since Jay at that conversational flow.
You know, I love the first Maybach music, right? I love the first Maybach music for a lot of reasons. And one of those reasons is that was Jay in retirement, right? He got on there and showed people that he still had it. Just like I think he needs to do on this Tana Talks 4. But when I listen to Maybach music now, I'm like, man, Ross really got better. Like, he's rapping good, but it's like he's rapping at his best, but there were levels to go. He found himself. We actually saw Ross as a rapper find himself with continuous efforts.
So, Mike, I'm glad that you brought up Maybach Music 1, because I have something circled, and it's not in my top 5 for him, but it's the point where I realize it's like, oh shit, like you just said, it's like he's getting better. He's dope, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Maybach Music 2 with Wayne and Kanye because he's standing right next to them and he's just fine right next to them. There's no slippage in his verse. And that was when I started taking notice of him actually was Maybach Music 2 because I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, Ye just spazzed. And then he came in. I was like, oh shit. I'm like, he just held it. And then Wayne came in and I was like, oh, Wayne didn't outdo him. He's right there. I need to start listening to Ross more. Maybach Music 2 is the moment that he made me a fan. Because I watched him. That's prime Ye, that's prime Wayne. Right. He's right there and he sounds just as good.
I think we need to do a top 5 Maybach musics.
I was actually going to say, one of the things I wanted to say is right next to Maybach Music 2, I said, what's everybody else's favorite Maybach song? Because mine is 2. Because
people
that's
are saying Maybach Music 3.
Okay, 3 is a banger. I'm partial to 2 because that's when I came a fan. Aesthetically speaking, 3 is probably a better song.
And his moment...
I'm surprised people aren't saying 4. I thought more people were going to say 4.
His moment on Devil in the New Dress, special. I don't know if you're familiar with Gang Related. It's more of a Triple C's record where he took that Murs, Michael Jackson sample.
Yep.
That shit is hard.
It is.
I don't know Murs, but I know furs. I bet I move furs after all you niggas first. Fake tough guys. It ain't even in your blood. And you know, we were just talking about being battle tested earlier. I think it's safe to say that he did beat 50 Cent in this battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason why I say that is because, you know, 50 said that he was going to destroy Ross and ruin his career. That didn't happen. Ross elevated after that.
Matter of fact, he got better after that, actually.
He did.
Like that, actually, you can look at that point, and that's the point where he got much better, actually.
That was
like
the turning point.
He was getting better, but the thing with 50 was the turning point where he started becoming all-time great. He's been all-time great from that moment on.
Are people putting Ross on the list like that? Because he deserves to be somewhere.
Mike, I was about to say, we haven't talked about Diced Pineapples. We haven't talked about 16. Mike, we haven't talked about my personal favorite, Hold Me Back. I love Hold Me Back.
Hold Me Back's hard. What about Aston Martin music?
Aston Martin. Mike, Mike, God Forgives and I Don't. Pick a track. Pirates, 10 Jesus Pieces. Like, where you want to go just on that album, Mike. He got it. Yeah, he got it.
I like The Devil Is a Lie.
Love The Devil Is a Lie. I love that beat, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike, you want to know what personal favorites? Trap, Trap, Trap with Thug and Wale. Summer 16 with Gotti.
Yeah.
Idols Become Rivals.
Yeah.
He everywhere.
Yeah.
Nasty.
DeCarlo says, yes, Mike, he is top 10. He is above Scarface. Woo.
First of all, you're out of pocket and you're wrong. Don't do that again. He ain't make no shit like The Diary or The Fix.
Listen, I disagree with DeCarlo on that, but I understand where people are coming from.
Untouchable, Made, Emeritus, Deeply Rooted. Let's not have this conversation.
Terminator 2 says Ross is miles above Eminem. Yeah, man, suit up with Ross, Eminem.
I got Ross in my definite top 20. He not top 10, but he top 20 with me.
His catalog is heavy. I think that where does he
lack? In the top 10 is putting him ahead of Redman. I don't know if I can do that. Does he have an album better than Muddy Waters? Is he better than Redman as an MC? Because I got Redman by 11, 12.
Well, he's not better than Redman as an MC, but it's similar to the Kendrick Lamar.
He doesn't have an album better than Muddy Waters. Redman got a great catalog. Doc's the Name, There's the Dark Side, What the Album. It's not like Redman don't have a catalog. That's what I'm saying.
Well, Three Kings.
So, like I said, pick something off God Forgives and I Don't. It's about 10 classic songs.
You know what I love off of that album? 10 Jesus Pieces.
I told you, Mike, 10 Jesus Pieces was solid, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you already mentioned that. He got so many records.
Just on that album, Mike, Pirates, Three Kings, Amsterdam, 16, Hold Me Back, 9/11, Diced Pineapples, 10 Jesus Pieces. That's one album, Mike. That's why I was like, well, there's nothing to say. It's nothing to say. Nothing to say after that album.
Look, we need to start revisiting where Rick Ross is on an all-time low.
Mike, I like God Forgives and I Don't. Just as much as I like the Carter 2, and I think that's Wayne's best album. I hold the Carter 2 and God Forgives and I Don't in the same high esteem.
What about Knife Fight with Cool G Rap? I mean, he's done records with everybody. He's
Done
right.
records with Nas, with Jay, with Cool G Rap. I told you, and I don't care what
Scarface.
anybody in the chat says. He blistered Nas on Accident Murders. We grew up doing graffiti. Nowadays, it's getting heated. No.
He recognizes the moment too. You know, the thing is, you know, and you know how I feel about T.I. And I think that he really worked very hard to get that King of the South moniker and, you know, and earn that. There could be an argument made that Rick Ross might be the most rounded MC to ever come out the South.
I'm going to go back to the battle-tested thing and lean on T.I. and the blurred lines thing. And
I don't know, man, because he got the 50 thing.
Ross
I
is not
think
as battle
50 is
tested as
tougher.
Tip as frequently. He's not as battle tested as frequently, and he don't have no blurred lines. So I'm still gonna give T.I. the slight edge.
Okay.
Ross would be the next person I would pick.
I think that T.I. is more skilled as an MC, but the thing
I think
is,
Ross is a better hit maker, and that's what you're talking about.
I think that Ross improving as an MC is one of those things that's just, you love to see it. I love to see people.
Tip improve. It's just Ross's improvement is greater because he wasn't as good as Tip. Because from I'm Serious, Trap Music, The King, improvement.
No, you're right. No, I think the biggest improvement for me personally, I'm Serious to Trap Music.
Yeah, it's a jump.
Yeah.
It's like Fat Joe going on his FloJo shit, the Jealous Ones Envy. It's like jump.
Yeah, I still hold T.I. higher. It's close, man. Because my thing is,
higher. It's like this. It's like if I make a list, it's like T.I. be like 15, Ross be like 17, like super close, maybe side by side.
The difference to me, for real, and I think where Ross is as an MC and just, you know, his ability to rhyme has vastly improved to the point where I think that he's perfect for his lane, right? And I think that T.I., he leveled out. He's a dope MC, period. But the biggest thing is their track selection. And Ross is at a whole nother level. You've said it yourself. That Ross is the best beat picker in hip hop. I think he's up there. I think T.I. is one of the worst beat pickers in hip hop.
Well, also too, let me say something about Rick Ross right quick. He still flashes as a solo artist more than Tip does. And I think that's what you're talking about. Because even on this last album, Mike, track Richer Than I Ever Been, like, that's just him on a solo mission. I haven't heard Tip on a solo mission come off that strong in a long time. I would still put Tip ahead of him overall slightly, but Ross still flashes like that more than Tip does on the solo Tip, as on the solo dolo no feature Tip.
Right.
But like I said, splitting hairs. Like, you're talking about somebody got at 15 versus somebody got at 17. You know? Close.
Great career and a great day for those guys because, I mean, I think that's probably one of the most power-packed hip-hop birthday days we have. We got Rakim, J. Cole, and Rick Ross.
That's heavy. That says something about the diversity of the day because 3 succinctly different artists.
Yeah. And, you know, some will tell you that J. Cole is the best of his era.
I mean, Mike, when you start... This is what I mean is like, well, part of the reason why Tony Gwynn is the best hitter of his era, Mike, is because, well, damn, every season he hit over 300. Cole is doing that.
Mm-hmm.
He hits over 300 when he steps to the plate. And here's the thing with it, and this is what I'm talking about how we may need to rate it fairly. Well, he steps to the plate, Mike, and here's the thing. You don't know if it's going to be a single, double, triple, or home run, but he's going to hit the ball. Just don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah, you know where Rick Ross drops something.
But he's going to make contact. Some of these guys be swinging and missing. He deserves credit for that.
Yeah, Brian says, who's better, Ross or Game? I think that's more of the conversation, to be honest. I mean, I think they're both extremely improved because I remember Game on the documentary, as dope as the album is, as an MC, you can hear his improvement from now to where he was then. Yeah. I think the edge that I would give Game is him being battle tested, but the edge that I would give Rick Ross is just how much he adds to other people's songs. He'll go out there and be a standout feature.
So that's exactly what I was about to say. So here's where Ross is standing out, where Game isn't, and maybe some of it is politics. Ross got crazy features.
He's probably got one of the best feature catalogs there is.
From the jump, crazy features. And so he got his features on top of a comparable catalog to Game. I actually would give Game the slight edge as an MC because I thought Game was a better MC initially than Ross was, although they both improved. The MC that you hear on the documentary 2 and 2.5 is not the MC that you hear on the documentary. He is vastly improved, and he is a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even think the MC on the documentary is better than the MC that's on Port of Miami.
Easily.
Yeah.
Mike, I'm not a fan of Port of Miami. It's because he's not that dope yet. I'm not a fan of the first two albums, Port of Miami or Trill. He's not that, or Trilla. He's not that dope.
Trilla's okay.
Here I Am is where he flashed for me. Maybach Music 2 on the third album, Deeper Than Rap, right? That's when it happened. That's when I was like, oh no, he's spitting. I need to listen to this album.
Here I Am is the record. Here I Am is the record that changed everything. Nas the GOAT says, nobody talks about Lupe Fiasco, and I wonder why. I think, this is the thing I think about Lupe. And me and my group went through this too. I think Lupe was slightly ahead of the era that would have embraced him to the highest. He was a good, what did he come out in, like 05?
Nah, before that. That's the Cool. The Cool is 05.
05 is the Cool. Was it 04?
Food and Liquor, like, no, Mike.
I thought Food and Liquor was like, what was, people in the chat, when did Food and Liquor come
out?
out?
No, you're right. Food and Liquor is 05. I'm tripping.
Okay.
Because I remember the Cool coming out around the time my daughter was born, so that'd be closer to 07.
If Lupe Fiasco comes out with the Cool in 2010, his career is totally different.
Mike,
and I think he was slightly ahead of the digital era. He was around the time when radio was still important. And I think that making his debut during that period, I don't want to say hurt him, but it was just tough for him to adjust to all the stuff that was going on. If he would have came out in the internet era, I think that, things would have been slightly different as far as like how much he's heralded. But again, the people who know lyrics know. And they rock with Lupe. Yeah, they're right. That was 06.
What? Food and Liquor?
Yeah. Yeah. Because remember, he was on late registration at 05.
No, because the Cool was December of 07. That's what I was saying. That was the year as my daughter was born. I remember playing the Cool that first year that she was born a lot. I mean, Mike, personally for me, I know a lot of people lean on Food and Liquor. I think the Cool is a superior project because he's a superior MC and lyricist. Like, just off of Go Gadget Flow and Dumb It Down, good night. Good
even when that whole Royce da 5'9" thing went down, I told you how that was going to go.
No, you did, and you were right.
Lupe is a lyricist.
I forgot about that guy that made Go Gadget Flow and the Coolest and Dumb It Down. So he's been forgotten some, but you want to know why he's been forgotten? And here's what's the beautiful thing about the Cool. Oh, he took his masterful lyricism and he made them into innovative concepts that you could listen to. It's been a lot of lyrical stuff that sometimes is inaudible to the ears because it's just not pieced together as well as the way the Cool and Food and Liquor was. So his problem has been piecing the song together to match his lyrical ability. He's spitting crazy everywhere all the time. But look at how he formatted part 1 and part 2 of the Cool on Food and Liquor, and then the Coolest, the follow-up. You get what I'm saying?
No, you're right.
Like, he exists in that format as a storyteller and a lyricist of the highest order. If he would have kept that format, we're talking about somebody probably would have been considered the best lyricist in the game for his generation, but he didn't keep that format to give us those records. We don't have nothing but Dumb It Down and Go Gadget Flow. What's the record on Lasers? You know what I'm talking about.
Lasers was tough, man. And again,
I didn't like it, Mike, because it's like, you're rhyming your ass off. Like, nobody liked it. What are you rhyming your ass off about? Because you was rhyming about something once upon a time. You feel me what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What are you rhyming about now? There's one song on Lasers where it's like lyrically like he's somewhere else, but I know you somewhere else. Make the records. Make the Cool. Go Gadget. Mike, Go Gadget Flow, that shit crazy. I'm like, Mike, he's as lyrical as Black Thought or Nas or Rakim on that record, and it's super catchy and super fun. He has the capability to do it. Kick Push, Mike.
No, you're right.
Mike, Kick Push sounds like something that could have been on Midnight Marauders, Mike. I mean that in the highest order.
All right, listen. I'm going to say this, and I'm just going to be honest. And you know what I'm saying? I'm cool with people who are cool with Lupe. I think what tuned me out when you mentioned Midnight Marauders, when he went up on stage at that Tribe Called Quest Honors thing at VH1, and he messed up the verse on Scenario, and his response was like, "Yo, I ain't even really listen to Tribe like that. You know what I'm saying? Q-Tip begged me to do it. I really grew up on Spice One, 8 Ball, and MJG. Now, regardless if that's true or not, whatever.
He's from Chi-Town, so that's not.
No, that's fine. But it's like, don't throw Tip and them under the bus. Like, if you messed up the words, just keep it moving or whatever. But, young artists do that. It's an ego thing, whatever. And I think that as a fan, though, that's what kind of tuned me out. Like, he nice, but what's he on?
Well, you can't disrespect the forefathers.
No. And, because what people have to understand is the people that you might be throwing a little shade to, your fans are fans of those people. Because regardless if you really did listen to Tribe like that, more than likely the people who listen to you are Tribe fans.
I was about to say, and this just,
and they're not going to pick you over Tribe.
This is a harsh reality. I was about to say, most of your fans probably belong to De La, Tribe, and the Roots first, which is part of the reason why his stuff hasn't fared so well, because he fits in their lane, and they have consistently performed better than him and made quality material.
They had more to go on. They had their fans were solidified. You're not gonna get me to not be a Tribe fan. You haven't done enough to do that.
I mean, let's just say this too. It's like, well, you're not as entertaining, as conversational as Most is, and he's everything that the MC that you are too. We'd rather have Most too. So it's like, that's what I'm saying about how he didn't play his cards right. As a lyricist, he's right there with anybody that you want to name, but you don't give the feeling that De La gives, or Tribe give, or Most give, or the Roots give.
The thing is, too,
says stuff like that, it's misstated, it's misappropriated.
The reason why they even had you doing the Tribe tribute is because their fans connect with you.
Made.
Yeah. Exactly.
I told Mike Kick Push could have been on Midnight Marauders. There aren't too many rappers that make tracks that belong on Midnight Marauders.
And so, with you doing stuff like that, you're turning the fans that rock with you off. Because more than likely, and there's people like us who listen to everything. Coming Out Hard's one of my favorite albums. But I'm from the South. More than likely, most 8 Ball and MJG and Spice One fans ain't checking for you like that. So don't go out there and disrespect the Tribe fans. And I'm sure, at his older age, he would say, you know what, that was a misstep, shouldn't have done that, whatever. But I'm just telling you what I'm trying to think of as a fan that kind of made me be like, And that was the moment. Because, again, I'm a huge Q-Tip fan. And I felt like that was unnecessary. Like, that turned me off as a fan.
Mike, Tribe has one of the most loyal fan bases, and their fan base is a correlation to the people that like him. So, major misstep on his part. Tribe fans are loyal.
You know who else did that? Loyal. Your boy. I don't know where he thought this was gonna go. Who said that about Ghost? Action Bronson. Like, what you think's gonna happen? Like, dude,
he's better off staying quiet.
Don't say anything, man. Like, we're Ghost fans. And honestly, I can't even really listen to his music like that because he sounds too much like Ghost to me. And that was Mike. One thing. And I still checked for him because I thought the music that Action Bronson was putting out was quality. But when you went out there and disrespected Ghost, I'm like, well, I'm really done now.
Hold on, Mike. I didn't even hear that he had disrespected Ghost until I saw Ghost's response when Ghost was in the robe in the hotel. And remember that? When I saw the response, I was like, I can't listen to fam music no more. He messing with my guy. He messing with Ghost. It's like we done. It's like, you fucking with Ghost? It's like, we done here. And so I'm gonna be honest with you, Mike, I haven't heard any of his music since. I haven't.
How do people think
Ghost went up on live, and I was like, oh, he done pissed my guy off. I was like, yeah, we done. We done. With this relationship is over.
How do people think this is gonna go?
Ghostface Killer. You know what I'm saying? My relationship was with Ghostface. Killer in this rap shit.
Right. I'm listening to you because he said it's cool.
Right. I'm 14 when the Purple Tape is coming out, Mike. Like, you cannot make me a fan. I'm 14 when the Purple Tape came out. I'm 12 when Enter the Wu-Tang came out. I'm 20 when Supreme Clientele came out. Like, you can't do nothing with me. Like, we done right there with the relationship.
Well, on that note, man, let's get up out of here. We're like 2.5 hours in. I hope people enjoyed the show tonight, man. And if you're not subscribed to the According to Hip Hop YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you can know when we're going live. And go check out accordingtohiphop.com. And we should have that yearbook for you guys next week, man. I'm looking forward to presenting it to you. I think we're going to do a whole show on it. And also Monday, we're going to do the long-awaited mock verses of Jay-Z and Nas. We got Nas. Rap roundtable, they have Jay-Z. This is going to be fun. I want everybody to tune in. We're going to do it on this channel because the people are going to be picking the winners of each round. So it should be cool.
Hey, Mike, it's Rakim's birthday, and not to J. Cole or Ross, but the God was first. I want to list some songs off right quick because people need to understand, because all these records are classic. This is what I mean about He's a Problem. Follow the Leader, Microphone Fiend, Eric B. is President, Mahogany, Paid in Full, I Ain't No Joke, Lyrics of Fury, In the Ghetto, Know the Ledge, I Know You Got Soul, My Melody, Alpha and Omega, Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em, Don't Sweat the Technique, 15-pack, Mike.
Don't Sweat the Technique is fire. And you know what?
Fire.
He gets a lot of shit for it because it's not what those other records are. But if it existed in its own,
Mike, how about this?
If
those records that came before it don't exist, and he comes out with "Don't Sweat the Technique," the effect is almost
he's a
the
star.
It's almost the same as if when he drops Eric B. as President. If we don't hear any of that other stuff, and he comes out with "Don't Sweat the Technique," the effect is almost the same. He's like that.
We still hear "Don't Sweat the Technique" on like NBA halftimes and all that. I think ESPN plays it a lot when they play their NBA games.
Hey, Mike, you know I'm a life insurance agent now. Can I tell you a little story right quick? That's actually my motivational song in the morning when I get in my car. It's Don't Sweat the Technique. That's the first song I put on.
His rhyme schemes on there are crazy, man. I feel like Know the Ledge, he's rhyming his ass off on there.
It's a Follow the Leader type of mic performance on there.
You know, Casualties of War is another one.
Pass the hand grenade. We can keep going.
He's rapping crazy.
Right.
No Omega. I truly believe.
I got Alpha and Omega down on that top 15 because that's that bar song like Lyrics of Fury is, where just rhyme wise it's like, oh well, you can't do that.
Nobody builds his rhymes up like Rakim does. Like that whole stanza where he's talking about
the ears and the eyes and the mouth. No Omega.
No, it's the first verse. What's the first verse? Yeah, it's the first verse where he's talking about the Battle Cat, where he was talking about loading the mic up with explosives.
Yeah.
And watch it blow like a hand grenade. And it's like he's taking you through the whole scene. And it's like, who raps like this? He's building the shit.
Yeah.
That sounds like, you know.
Like a technician.
It's incredible, man.
Like a musician. Like a technician and
Nobody, listen, I don't care what anybody says. Nobody wanted to see this guy in the battle. And if by any chance, because I think it's been said that it was about Kane. If Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em's about Kane, I understand why you don't respond to that. This nigga's rapping crazy on there, man. Like,
just name 15 songs. He's rapping crazy on all of these songs. Like, I'm talking about the level. Like, no. This is the same level. This is A+, A1, 10 of 10 MC.
Wilt Chamberlain a rap, man. Wilt Chamberlain stuff. All right, man. You have a great weekend. Y'all have a great weekend out there. And, stay tuned. We got so much coming.